in the NRL, they just sign them, they announce it, and they, like any other professional workplace in the world, you finish your contract and you do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, so what's the negative of Butters coming out if he knew round 6 and saying, I'm gone, I'm out? What happens then? Do clubs need to grow up a little bit and manage that situation better? Because I guess the fear of a player like a Butters, if he says round 6 or 7, I'm out, the flow-on effect, how does Josh Carr treat him? Where does he play? I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, but in the end, as we said, I think it's if we get to that point where Zach, he might have been gone at the start of the year, for all we know. So come out and say it and then just keep playing as you normally would.
It's definitely chasing a bit of maturity, but I do find it funny that, we're building up the whole, can Zach get back in round 23, which is essentially saying, can he come back for a farewell game? Because if he was staying, you'd probably just let him see out the year. So Port have said it without saying it. Like, we think he's going to go. We'd love to get him back for one more game. We'll see what happens in a fortnight. But
then if you're Zach Butters and you're going to sign a, massive money elsewhere, are you going to put yourself at risk by playing one last
probably
game?
Take the week off.
You probably do.
Although most people close to him reckon because he's such a competitive beast, he wouldn't care. He's happy to throw his body on the line, and obviously he loves the football club, even though he's potentially going. He's still a very big fan of Port Adelaide and what they've been able to do for him in the early stages of his career. Just a quick follow-up as well from the representative game over at North Sydney Oval. So Australia winners over Ireland by 50 points. Our own Ebony Marinoff had 25 touches and 11 tackles. Didn't win best on ground. It went to Jazzy Garner, who had 18 disposals and a goal. So I feel like she's a little robbed there, Noffy. But
sounds like it.
Unfortunately for her, and Talia Randall kicked 4 goals in the win as well. Earlier today, the Swans defeating St Kilda by 19 points. 7 goals to 2 in the final quarter, and the Saints slump down to 10th. And the Hawks defeated North Melbourne by 16 points. Similar scenario where they had 12 lead changes, but the Hawks stormed home with 5 goals to 2.
The Sydney game, St Kilda, I didn't see any. How many did Naz have?
He had 24 touches and 3 goals. Had a little bit of a rib issue towards the back end as well. But
so he had a quiet game.
Yeah. Did have a run with and looked really good early despite it. Like, he had James Jordan gassed the way he was taking him around the ground. It was only really that incident where Will Edwards broke his leg that Nasai Wanganeen-Willera copped a hit, and that kind of slowed him towards the back end. But otherwise, he was very prolific. James Rowbottom also hurt his hand, and Jack Silvani dislocated his shoulder. So a bit of carnage for both clubs in that contest. Clean sheet for the Hawks and the Roos, but Nick Watson had 5 goals. So the Coleman race is very tight now. He's on 52. Charlie Kerner's on 57. If he wins it all, he'd be the smallest Coleman winner since 1911.
Wow.
Vin Gardner, back at the Blues. So there you go.
So
that's what I was sitting on for a while. Shorter than 170. So
good effort.
I think it's 168. We're about to get underway here for Port Adelaide and GWS. No late changes on ABC Sport. The 5th member of our team down at ground level is Braden Ingram, and he was watching the coin toss. Good evening, Braden.
Yeah, good evening, team. Yeah, it was the battle of the fill-in captains, Connor Iden for the Giants and Willem Drew in game 150 for the Power, and it is Drew who's won the toss, kicking to the right, so the Riverbank stand on the southern end here at Adelaide Oval. The benches for the Giants, Ralston, O, Briggs, Fonte and Hamilton. For the Power, it's Moraes, Wines, Lorenz, Vicentini, Zatto. It's been a clear day, and that'll continue into the night. It is chilly, 10 degrees, feels like 8. Not really a breath of wind. There'd been jokes during the week that there'll be a bigger crowd at Alberton tomorrow when the potential number 1 pick, Dougie Cochran, plays his first game for the club's Sandful side. I'm pleased to report we've got a bit of a bigger crowd here, probably at least 20,000 in the house, despite the fact this is a lower key affair.
And the scarves are up with the true believers for Never Tear Us Apart. Port Adelaide looking to squeeze in what could be their last home win of the season. The Giants cannot afford to drop one from here. They've got to win their last 4. It's an easy draw. Tonight's the night to kickstart your run to September. It is Port Adelaide and GWS for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Joel Pantful, Josh Franco, your experts, Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson with you for the call.
Madden v Sweet. Sweet knocks it down to Horn Francis, who does have Bedford as company. Gets it off to Bergman. His handball sharked by Oliver. Going in hard off the line there is O'Halloran. Tackled by Horn Francis, and we'll do it all again near the centre circle. Umpire quickly throws it up. Sweet knocks it down again, straight to Durden, who's shuffled up into the contest. He socketed off the deck towards centre half forward, but Iden read it best. Goes the 1-2, gets it back out towards the wing. Fisted down in the contest. Angwin did well for GWS. Handball to Whitfield. Going board to the big ruckman in Madden. Puts his teammate under enormous pressure. Power players slide in. Play on, says the umpire. Allowed the ball to fall out to Oliver, but it went all the way back to Durden. He kicks inside the forward 50, up towards the left forward pocket. It's a foot race there. Iden's pretty happy to take it out. The umpire says that's all right. And we'll have a boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Power.
Just the Giants a little bit guilty of overusing it by hands. Pressure from Port Adelaide was really good, able to turn the footy over and reset for a boundary throw in deep in their forward 50 to Power.
First entry of the game, Port Adelaide's way. Tossed in, 30 out. Sweet wins it down against Madden, but only found O'Halloran. Tackled as he kicked it, just got the toe, 10 metres. Durden was waiting, gathers, snaps across the body. It's a spiral left and a minor score to get us underway. Port by a point, 1 minute in on ABC Sport.
He's been a good addition, hasn't he, Durden? He's had a terrific season.
One of the recruits of the year, no doubt about that.
Definitely.
Him and Clayton Oliver would be up there in the top 3 or 5. So a short kick in for the Giants to Whitfield. Trusty right boot goes short to Cornelio, the old firm at right half back. Hits up Bedford in the middle of the ground. They got some run. O'Halloran can use Ash if he wants to. Does so. Tries to shrug the tackle of Burn-Jones. Then bounces it through centre half forward. And he's thrown to the ground. Not holding the ball, says the umpire. Unbelievable non-call. So Alir grabs the ball, kicks into the middle of the ground. A contest between Oliver and Durden. He brings it to ground. He's got some space in front. Hits up Horne-Francis on the chest. There's no one in the forward line. He's 65 from home. Whitlock going back, so he's directing some traffic. Here's the young gun looking for Whitlock. Pulled in the contest, missed another free kick, the umpire. Play on, ball up left forward pocket, and you can hear the boos.
Well, he was pretty lucky to get away with that one, wasn't he? I think it was Laverde on Georgiades deep inside the forward pocket there.
Veteran Lee Fisher as well had his eyes on it. Sweet pushes out of the ruck, takes the footy, snaps across the goal face, right under the belly of the ball, and it bounces right forward pocket and over. Although it was the wrong side of the paint, so it's going to be out on the full. Free kick GWS. A couple of early chances for Port Adelaide. Yet to kick a goal, though. They're up by a point 2 minutes in on ABC Sport. Exiting kick out of the left back pocket. Heads up towards left half back. Few flyers there. Out the back door. Tracked well. Ram gathers and hands it off to Drew. Lowers the eyes. Checks his kick to Georgiades. Fist came late from Taylor. Whitfield can gather for the Giants. Hot handball to O'Halloran. Drew closes. He gets it out. Madden to Oliver. Back to Bedford. Reeled it in. And the Giants now are breaking off left half back.
Thomas kicks long up towards left half forward. Grashevsky's there. Ball spills out in the contest. Play on, says the umpire. Handball's back to Thomas. He's 65 from goal. He missed his target. Lai gathers for Port. Goes to Berry. The switch is on to left half back. And it was Durden getting involved. Goes out wider. Finds Bammett. And here's Watkins at left half back.
At the moment, GWS are running at 7 kicks and 16 handballs. So overusing the ball, and Port Adelaide's pressure's been really good and being able to generate some turnovers. Just got to kick and get some field position.
Balin O'Brien out towards Alir at right half back. 45 kick to Burn-Jones on the corner of the centre square. Members side of the ground. Taking their time are the Power. So the veteran handball's back to Alir. Defensive side of centre wing to the logo in Bergman. He steps forward, kicks inside the forward 50. A 2-on-2 there. Flying is Georgiades. Taylor did well for the Giants. Knocked it to the front of the pack. Lockie Ash picks it up. He's tackled by Marshall at centre half forward. We'll have a ball up. Port leading it by a point 4.5 minutes into the first term.
Yeah, they've shown they're willing to run and carry through the middle, haven't they, Josh? And handball, get that quick ball movement.
Sweet straight down to Horne-Francis, who tried to break through the lines and was tackled and brought to ground.
He's looking at lively at the moment, Horne-Francis. Started in the middle of the ground, now he's forward, but looking very dangerous ahead of the ball.
Easily Port's best on ground last week, got the 5 coaches' votes. Again, the tap in his path, and the Giants panic. Grab the Guernsey, and it's a free kick to the Hornets, straight in front, 40 out.
Well, it's interesting, when you talk about movement at stoppage, that's the end result, that if you've got a bloke like a Horne-Francis who is very dangerous and he gets a lot of close attention, he rips through the front, invariably draws the free kick because it does put a bit of panic in his direct opponent, and really good play. Just through movement at the stoppage, Horne-Francis draws the free kick.
24-15 in terms of his goal scoring this year. Jason Horne-Francis, who says one day he wants to be the skipper of this football club. Shouldered the burden without Rosie and Butters the last month. Crosses the paint of 50, straight line drive. It's fading a little left, but it gets there. Port with the first of the evening. 1-1-7. The Giants yet to score, yet to go inside 50. We've played 5 minutes in the opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with Joel Patfull and Josh Franco.
Well, it was off the back of a free kick, and they're probably lucky they hadn't given 2 or 3 away before that. They're actually one of the worst teams for free kicks against the Giants this year, so something to look at there. But it was off the back of repeat inside 50s and just pressure when you keep coming back inside 50s. Like you said, Jason Horne-Francis coming through the stoppage. You get a bit desperate, hold on to the jumper, and she's all over.
What a luxury, isn't it, Josh Carr has with Horne-Francis. Yeah. You can play him inside to generate some real drive out of the stoppage scenario, but when he's forward as well, he's very, very dangerous.
Is he All-Australian for you?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. Certainly a spot in the interchange bench, just ability to get 24, 25 touches a game and a goal a game. It's elite stuff. So from the restart, Jace Burgoyne gets a free kick for a hold. Kicks it up towards centre half forward. Out comes Georgiades. Couldn't complete the mark. Socket out of danger for the moment. Handball towards Bergman though for Port. Kicks up towards Whitlock. Right half forward. Brought to ground. Thomas under pressure. Did well to Ash. He slips over at the wrong time but gathers his feet. Snaps around the body. Looking for Brown up on the wing. They let this go out, Port. They would have won the free, but Ram takes it out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in.
At the moment, I reckon the Giants, they just look a bit rattled. In terms of the tackle numbers, it's 8-2 in favour of Port Adelaide. GWS are overusing it by hand, and they just look a little bit rattled. They just got to find some momentum in the game where they can just take a breath and settle.
Can't afford to lose tonight. Tossed in. Briggs taps it down. Oliver tackle before the ball reached him.
Yep.
Milks the free kick as much as he can to the official and gets it. So the Giants will have it behind centre wing.
That was a smart play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just never took possession of the ball. He did it well.
An excellent recruit, Clayton Oliver. So leading the league for clearances and contested possession. He's had a run of 30 games where he's had 20 touches or more. Heads up to left half forward. Tried to get to Cadman. He couldn't really fly. Just ran too early and then was caught under the pack. And over the top, Ram takes the intercept mark. One of the 2 inclusions for the Power this week. Harry Ram. Game number 4 just thumps it down the line. Taylor launches early, gets a hand to it. Out the back door, Zatto can't get low enough. Toad centrally. Murray's buffeted off it by O'Halloran. Can't control the footy for the Giants. Coming in with the assist, though. The handball shoots out wide to Ash. Now Himmelberg moves it to right half back. It was a low dart and well scouted. Getting in front, Watkins get the turnover. It tries to chip it in, and Marshall with the strong hands holds on with Ash coming in hard. Set shot to come. 45 to the left. He's 40 from home.
Well, Aaron, just to paint a bit of a picture, sorry, Joel, was the kicking efficiency of the Giants at the moment is 55%. They're running at 11 kicks and 19 handballs. Again, indicative of the pressure that Port Adelaide's applying, and the tackle count is 8-2 Port Adelaide's way. So they're dominating field position, they're dominating pressure around the ball, and at the moment the Giants are paying the price.
Big Todd, who's played at every level and every position this year as they try to figure out what to do with him, was a former leading goal kicker for this football club. Just the 4 majors this year. Todd Marshall with the long approach, leans back on the kick, and Port have the first 2. 2-1-13, the Giants yet to score. 9 played opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Josh Franco and Joel Patfull.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I mean, it's 4 turnovers now. They've been in really dangerous areas. Coming in half forward, they've turned over a couple of times, and then that one from Harry Himmelberg just bit off a bit too much when you're exiting 50 and got burnt on the turnover. And it's been a bit of an issue for the Giants in the last few weeks, whether they're going quick through the middle. That pressure coming forward is just turning the footy over. So, like you said, they've got to get that gameplay right, whether they want to go quick or sometimes they've just got to pick the right time to slow the footy down, kick and mark, work their way up the ground, and then get it deep inside 50. They still haven't had a deep entry inside 50.
Strong start for the Power.
Very strong. They look really lively at the moment, Port Adelaide.
10 minutes in, leading by 13 points. Vicentini into the ruck, knocks it forward towards Burgoyne, tackled by Oliver, swung the 360. That was strong. Got the handball away to Iden, back towards Briggs. Some advice from Josh Franco. Oh, he just dropped it there, Briggs. Play on, says the umpire. Sock it forward, and it lands in the lap of Stringer. So he's got Jones on the mark. He's about 70 from home. Roosted inside the forward 50. The first dangerous ball going in. Roved well there by Cornelio. Couldn't get enough on the kick. Lai was put under pressure. Thomas did well. Couldn't quite get the turnover though, and gathered by Drew for Port. Gets it to Burgoyne, and he's tackled over the boundary line by Stringer at left half forward for the Giants. A throw in.
You would have hated watching the Giants this year.
Oh, well, it's interesting. Like, you got to understand the pressure that's coming at you, and just kick it, get field position rather than trying to overuse it by hands until the game settles. Then you can start to use hands a bit more. Easier said than done up here, isn't it?
That's Josh Franco there, tossed in, tapped down. Briggs got it straight out wide. Centering kick no good though for the Giants, and Port Adelaide mop it up. Bammett heads out towards the eastern side. Mark taken there by Watkins, who pops back up. Gets it out with a handball to Bammett. Tackled though, turnover. Rouston got him. Handball central. Cornelio loops it over the top. Hamilton spins a tumbling kick towards the 50 for GWS, and it works fortuitously to Cabman. Gathers, wheels around, and centers his kick towards the goal square. Jake Stringer had some space. 25 out. Takes the mark slightly to the left.
Joel, was that kick intentional?
I think so. That's why he's so dangerous. He is very good on the left foot. Any possession he gets inside 50 is so dangerous. That's why he needs to be involved in the game as much as possible.
That was a great kick under pressure, wasn't it?
So the package opens the angle, snaps around the body, and gets the Giants first here at the Adelaide Oval. They're 1 straight 6. Port Adelaide 2-1-13. 11 played in the first quarter. Shout out to Pete and Ballarat, who is still relishing what he says is goal of the year today with Niamh McLaughlin for Ireland, which was essentially an alley-oop. So a teammate dribbled it across the ground, and then she stuck the boot out and volleyed it through. It was an excellent play. And Jemmy enjoying the call as well. He's in Wangaratta. I was wondering if we can change up our intro and put some highlights in there. We might be able to keep it shorter if we want, Jemmy. We're moving forward. Let's check in with Braden downstairs.
Clayton Oliver's already been quite busy, but he's come to the bench with a massive gash down the right-hand side of his cheek. So I don't know if someone's got long fingernails or maybe a boot stud. It's a bit of an odd one he's being seen to. I'm sure he'll be back out there pretty soon.
Cadman could have easily blazed the way there, couldn't he, Joel? Like on his left foot. The centering ball, and Stringer gets the Giants first. So back in the middle of the ground, Vicentini down to Wines, to Horn Francis, a goal kicker in his own right. Up towards Zato, takes it on the half volley, hits him on the chest. Thomas did well to get it back to Whitfield. He goes on his left foot. Normally very good. Superstar Giant, former number 1 pick, but he's kicked that one straight out of bounds on the full. Right in front of the power bench. So Josh Lai will take the free kick for Port. Up by 7 points. Sends it back long. Whitlock flies. Iden does better. Rode by Thomas again to Whitfield, but that kick's partially smothered. Joe Berry on his right foot. Well, we saw a miracle goal from him a couple of weeks ago on the right. That one's gone about 8 rows back, so we'll have a free kick to the Giants in the left back pocket. They trail by 7 points.
So Himmelberg to bring it back in. One of a flurry of academy products out there tonight for the Giants. Played on and nearly had his kick smothered as he arced inboard. Just got it down the line. 3-on-3 as they launch into the air. Callum Brown brings it down. Harvey Thomas can't trap it, but goes in the second bite. Shoots the handball over the top to Madden. Spear tackle from Aaliyah, but he got it out. Back to Thomas, then Brown over the top, and now arching the back to go for a run. The Giants aren't really sure where to go. Grishevsky retreats. Gives it back up to Thomas, who's running out of room. Walls closing in towards the boundary line. He'll kick up towards the 50. Waiting there was Stringer. Knocked away centrally. Bergman leaves it for Burn Jones. He gets the handball out as he draws 3 in. Lorenz sweeps one over the top and hot onto the footy. Clean gather from Berry, and he tried to get a handball forward, lost his feet and was clattered into by Taylor. They still get the chance out, Port Adelaide, and here they come full stride.
Moraes went the 1-2 with Vicentini, couldn't get the third one. There's going to be a free kick downfield. He ran too far. Ran too far. He did have a lot of time there. Near the boos from the crowd, but I think if you count that one back, that might have been a good 20 metres. So Rouston kicks it out wide to centre wing. Opportunity to go inside the forward 50 again. Briggs has got it at right half forward. 55 from home. Kicks a long ball towards the top of the goal square. Stringer flies. Brings it down to the front of the contest. Thomas taps it to his advantage. Stringer's still in there again on hands and knees. Fires out a handball. Rousted. Spun in the 360. Off to a teammate there. And holding the footy. So a great tackle there from Jones. Just put his opponent under enormous pressure.
I haven't seen a huge amount of GWS this year, but wow, they like to keep the ball alive, don't they? They don't take the tackle and they're not happy with the stoppage. They just keep the ball in motion.
So free kick against O there. Aaliyah has the footy at left half back.
Heads back to Lockie Jones. It's Port by 7. They had the first 2 goals. The Giants have had the last one through Jake Stringer. Multicultural Cup today for Port Adelaide, so Aaliyah a big part of that with his South Sudanese background. Out to the broadcast wing. Pat converges, Whitlock brings it down. Berry to Wines, central handball, a tough one. Hard tackle from Whitfield, and he gets Christian Moraes holding the ball, wants to play on quickly, kick smothered, but does trickle towards Himmelberg. And the corridor kick works for Bedford. Some time to think about his next move for the Giants. Goes for a trot to the eastern side. Will place it up to right half forward, well weighted and reeled in by Angwin. Stuck the right arm out, managed to just hook it in with a fishing line up against Watkins.
It's look a lot more settled, the Giants now, don't they?
Angwin, who's been relishing the absence of Toby Green, playing a lot of midfield minutes and averaging 21 in the last 2. Bangs it into the scoreboard, a little long for the pack. Aaliyah gathers at his bootlaces, gets it out for the power to Vicentini, then Jones back to Aaliyah. Giants are hot on it though, Hamilton wraps him up in the tackle. Ball up to come, 25 out, right forward pocket.
Yeah, a bit more composure with the footy, isn't it? Kick mark, entry inside 50, and then a bit of forward pressure as well, which they've lacked during the start of this game, so forward stoppage.
Great hit out from Vicentini straight down to Watkins. This kick's not great though. It must have been touched because Angwin got it quickly to O'Halloran, back to Whitfield. Now we're going back inside the forward 50. Briggs was the man in front, should have took that mark, dropped it. Berry still under pressure for Port, gets it back to Aaliyah at right half back to Zato, keeps it in just along the boundary line. Exiting kick, Bammett flies. He was in the back there clearly against Fonte, and Georgiades will think about taking the advantage, but Fonte gives away the free kick and will bring it all the way back. Defensive side of the logo. He chips to Ollie Wines, the Brownlow medalist.
It's been a good pick-up, Bammett, in mid-season, hasn't he?
Yep, has a crack.
Yep, uses the ball well.
And can mark overhead. So Ollie Wines, he's got it at centre wing. Looking for Georgiades. Brought to the front of the contest there. And spoil from Himmelberg, so we'll have a throw in. Port's end of the ground, it's about 65 from home. They're leading by 7 points.
Just having a look at some of the numbers as well. The hit-outs at the moment, 10-1 in favour of Port Adelaide, and the clearance count is 7-3, so that's creating a few headaches for the GWS coaching staff. What's happening in the ruck contest and at ground level?
Interesting, given they've got both their heavy hitters out there in Madden and Briggs. And the first aforementioned player, Madden, gathers out of the ruck contest there and tumbles a kick forward. Port have some numbers sitting back. Berry with a high wobbler up towards half forward. No one really committed to the drop. And Whitfield's going to get the free kick, holding against Moraes. So the dual Australian just wide of centre half back. Kicks on the 45 to Fonte. He'll head back to the broadcast wing. It's Port by 7. The kick just a little shallow. Marshall gets a fist in. Trying to follow up Cadman. It rolls towards the boundary line and eventually over. Although there's going to be a holding free kick Port's way. So Jace Burgoyne to get it right in front of the benches. Son of a gun whose father is past in terms of games played by Darcy Byrne-Jones tonight. 7th all time. Heads towards the 50. Fist comes in from Himmelberg. Whitlock tries to swat it back. Drew gathers 48 out. Tackled, spun, got it to Marshall. He gives it away. Oliver for the Giants to Taylor. And now Iden, the stand-in skipper, wants to go out towards the eastern side. Puts enough on it to right half back.
So Delana's got it. He goes short. Quite a 45 kick, but enough to Bedford. He's going to centre half back in Iden. Composed work there. Rock solid defender. So trailing by 7 points. Back a bit of momentum after Port kicked the first 2 goals of the game. Laverde out wide to Himmelberg. Defensive side of centre wing. Members side of the ground. Port well set up. Himmelberg trying to direct some traffic. He's going to send it back to Taylor at left half back. So you can think about the switch here. He's got the guts and the gusto. Long kick towards Whitfield. Front on contact surely there from Lorenz. The crowd unhappy, but that's an easy free kick to pay. Whitfield.
Was there every day of the week.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Goes to his long-time partner in crime and Cornelio. On the logo, centre wing. They're taking their time here, the Giants. Trying to find the perfect pass. Iden's got it. Still in the defensive side of the centre square. So here's the kick. High, long down the line. O'Brien's at the front for Port. Got a hand to it. Angwin's there and he's going to nurse Watkins out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in right half forward for the Giants, who are trailing by 7 points, and we're into time on in this first term.
Still about 45 out from Carlton and Brisbane, but you can hear the pre-game on ABC Listen. No late changes there. Earlier today, Sydney winners, as were the Hawks. Tossed in. Vicentini front position, wins it down, bounces off a few bodies to Angwin for the Giants, pulls the trigger and heads inside 50, kicks towards the scoreboard. Cadman had eyes for the footy, but getting back in time was Lockie Jones with a fist. Boundary throw in to come, 20 out, right forward pocket.
He did that well, Jones, didn't he? Undersized against his direct opponent in Cabin, but didn't give away a free kick. Could have potentially given one with front on contact, but half the contest forced it out of bounds.
Four-time showdown medalist Josh Franco there. The dual Brisbane Lions best and fairest winner Joel Patfull's here as well. Tossed in, tapped down towards the scoreboard. O'Brien nearly cut it off, ricocheted off Cadman to Horn Francis. He couldn't get a handball away. Bedford becomes the tackler on O'Brien, who didn't have the footy. Free kick to Port Adelaide left back pocket.
Strong tackle.
So Dalen O'Brien will send it out towards the eastern side. Left half back, trying to run at it. Whitlock caught behind, got a fist in for the footy. Oliver gets low enough to extract it. Shoots the handball out to Iden. Whitfield thumps it. Tacking edge. Angwin wheels. Plenty of space to drive it to the goal square. Trying to get a big shove in there, but unable to take the mark out the back door was Grashevsky. And then the clearing kick comes for Port Adelaide out to right half back, but only as far as the boundary line. Berry's turned it over. Last disposal free kick.
Now, Port Adelaide look a bit rattled, don't they? They can't get their hands on the footy. In terms of the numbers, it's 87 possessions to Port Adelaide's 68, and at the moment the Giants are dominating field position.
Yep, front half game, that's for sure. Long ball inside. Aliir fumbled. Gathers the footy. Strong tackle. Play on, says the umpire, who's fortunate there. The handball went straight to Cornelio, who snapped around the body on his left, but pulled it too far to the right. So a minus score, the first of the Giants. They go to 1-1-7. Port a 2-1-13, 22 gone first term.
Well, at one stage it was 7-1 inside 50s against the Giants. Now it's 10-all, so it just highlights they have dominated field position, played in their front half in the last probably 10 minutes.
Lorenz bangs it up to the broadcast wing. Good hands from Dante Vicentini, who gets in front of the pack, and Madden to take it. And his second best game of his career last week. A little soft out towards O'Brien, close to the boundary on the broadcast side, and getting back to Lana, nearly cut it off. Got a hand in to knock it over the boundary line.
Well, that's where they're getting, aren't they? They exit outside of their defensive 50. They haven't been able to get it in their forward half of the ground. Giants zone is really pressing up and making that hard for them.
Support top 6 in the league for defence, and they're up there in terms of their scoring shots as well, but D50 to forward 50, 17th. Ball movement hasn't been great this campaign. Tossed in, Burgoyne tackles Oliver, forces the turnover. Drew got it out to Horn Francis, tried to shoot a handball central. Delana cuts it off, rolls the kick forward for GWS. It's inside 50 now. Cadman gets low, can't quite control the footy. Burn Jones becomes the tackler as he holds up Stringer and brings him to ground just wide of centre half forward. So the Giants on the charge again. They've had the last 2 scoring shots, but are down 6.
Quickly in the ruck contest, Sweet takes it out, but just quickly handballed it, and it ended up with Rouse, and this is a dangerous kick, and a strong grab there from Cadman, just out-bodied Jones, and he marks 10 out, slightly to the left.
Well, you talked about Burn Jones doing well that last contest, playing from the front, but Cadman was just too strong. Then he read the ball off the boot, held him underneath in the contest, and he's actually very strong, very good one-on-one, so he'd be pretty happy with that matchup, I would have thought.
He can play, this bloke.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be an absolute star.
Yep. 25 goals on the year.
Yep. So athletic and kicks the ball really well.
So from 15 metres out, pumps it through the middle, made the goal umpire work a little bit, but scores a level. The Giants get the last 2. It's 2-1 apiece, 13. 24 minutes gone in the first term.
Well, the half's been a game of halves, hasn't it? Sorry, the first quarter's been a game of halves. Port Adelaide dominated in that first probably 15 minutes, but now it's all the Giants, and I think it was Jordan Sweet, the Port Adelaide ruckman, in that scramble, just released the ball by hand, just lacked a bit of composure with ball in hand, and the quick kick forward, as we said, marked by Cadman, and great finish.
He's a gun, though, Cadman. If you haven't seen much about him, he's a dynamic player, marks the footy well, he's quick on lead, he's got all the attributes, but he does go missing through big parts of the game, so that's why he's just got to stay involved, stay connected, stay in line with the ball, and he could do anything.
What would his weight be?
He'd actually be up there. He's pretty solid.
Yeah,
He'd be 90 plus kegs easy, 93, 94 maybe.
Yep.
Tossed up in the middle, Briggs takes it out of the ruck, kicked it into the shins of Wines, who gathers, spun in the tackle, got a handball overhead forward. Giants had a wall waiting. Rouston's kick smothered as well. Bedford tries to break the deadlock as he breaks out, hands it back to Oliver, off a step, bangs it high and long up towards half forward, getting back Josh Lai, and a free kick going Port's way as he got a push from Riley Hamilton. Two opposing 43s.
Just can't move the ball from here, can they? Port Adelaide, they're struggling off half back to generate any sort of ball movement.
Short pass to Horne-Francis. Burgoyne goes long. This is well weighted. Willem Drew, right half forward, can finally get them inside 50. He heads to the right forward pocket. Georgiades tries to outmuscle Himmelberg, but just can't get both hands on the footy. And it rolls off the fingertips over the boundary line. 20 out, right forward pocket. It is Port Adelaide and the Giants locked at 2:113 apiece. Time on in the first on ABC Sport.
I think if you're on Horne-Francis at this stoppage, you're on high alert. It looks like it's Bedford at the moment. He'll get on the move.
Set up a little block there for Durden to run through, but Georgiades was the man. Dribbling kick away to the left. It's been able to have much of an impact as yet. Does hit the scoreboard there. 2-2-14 Port. The Giants 2-1-13. 26 gone in this first term for ABC Sport.
His goals and behinds just continues to go the wrong way. 39-45 for the year. Playing on from the defensive goal square. Ash heads to the eastern side. Front position Lai brings it to ground. Front square Murray's. Port Adelaide straight back in. Trying to use the body. Durden outmatched by Ash. Gets it down towards Brown and then Iden and receives the footy back. Ash out to Fonte. Then uses Thomas wide towards Himmelberg. Gets right under the footy up to the defensive edge. Flying is Sweet. Fist ricochets out to the boundary line. Thomas first to it. Thrusts the handball forward off balance. Got it straight to Lockie Jones. Turnover. Port Adelaide through Wines. Back to Drew. Up and under kick. 48 out. Few flyers. Horne-Francis waiting down low. Gathers, tackled. Shot the handball out to Marshall. Bowled off it. The Giants win the footy again. Harvey Thomas gets it out to Bedford. Now they can go through the broadcast wing.
Long down the line, Alir just read it so well, didn't he? Over Grashevsky. Goes short quickly to Lorenz. And there's going to be a stand-in area issue there for Stringer. And Lorenz is going to be marched up to the 50.
There's always one, isn't there?
Yeah. It's a hard one because it felt like he was between a rock and a hard place. He was deciding whether he was going to do it, and then when he realised he probably couldn't get to the spot, he stopped in the area. So Lorenz, a big raking left foot, but he's going to kick this into the pocket. Horne-Francis and Georgiades are there. Extra numbers there for the Giants, and Taylor was able to rove his own spoil and takes it out over the boundary line. Right forward pocket for the Power.
It wasn't a bad kick there from Lorenz, was it? Didn't kick it at the top of the goal square, kicked it wide to the pocket, forced the boundary throw in. Not much time left on the clock. They get another crack at it here, Port Adelaide, with a forward 50 boundary throw in.
Up by a point. Last roll of the dice for the term. Tossed in, Sweet down. Burgoyne gathers, snaps, gets right under it. A sky ball headed towards the Riverbank stand. Howell at pitch, waiting an eternity up and down. Himmelberg gets it. Gets the handball out. Iden to Whitfield. Again calls for an option. Heads out to the eastern wing. Port have the numbers. Read well by Lorenz. Shoots the handball out to Berry. Back inside 50 as the clock trickles down. Fonte puts his body on the line in front of the lead of Georgiades. This comes out. Iden clears it again. Alir launches a little early. Out the back. Grashevsky wants to try and go end to end, but he's wrapped up in the tackle of Berry, who's playing a defensive role tonight. Ball shoots out, and that'll do us for the first term at the Adelaide Oval. Hot start for the home team. The Giants with the late momentum, and it's Port by a point at the first change. 2-2-14 plays 2-1-13. Goal scorers all individual. Marshall, Horne-Francis, Cadman and Stringer. The text line tonight, 0437 774 774. If you want to get in touch. The other game on at the moment, or pre-game in the build-up to Carlton and Brisbane, which is 35 minutes away. No late changes at Docklands. You can hear it on ABC Listen. Otherwise, we'll get you there for the second half after the game here at the Adelaide Oval. Thoughts to Joel Patfull and Josh Franco coming your way next on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
What's really in the food we're eating?
A lot of the labels are not true.
A major Australian food investigation yields shocking results. Duped, a two-part special from Four Corners. Streaming now on ABC iView.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Jason Horne-Francis, who says one day he wants to be the skipper of this football club. Crosses the paint of 50, straight line drive. It's fading a little left, but it gets there. Caught with the first of the evening. Todd Marshall with the long approach, leans back on the kick, and Port have the first two. The package opens the angle, snaps around the body, and gets the Giants first here at the Adelaide Oval.
So this is a dangerous kick, and a strong grab there from Cadman. Just out-bodied Jones. So from 15 metres out, pumps it through the middle, made the goal umpire work a little bit. But scores a level.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Power by a point at the first change. A real arm wrestle between these two middle-of-the-pack sides. The Giants still want to keep their season alive after St Kilda lost earlier today. Got to win their last four, but they've got an easier draw compared to most around them. And Port Adelaide, if they can get the job done tonight, will actually leapfrog out of the bottom four and put Damien Hardwick's Suns in it. They've got to play Melbourne tomorrow, but gee, the free fall of the Suns, who've lost 9 on the trot, could find themselves in the bottom four after being premiership favourites. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you alongside the dual Lions best and fairest winner Joel Patfull, who's made the trip from Sydney. It is the Joel Patfull Cup tonight as he played for both of these clubs. And the 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco's here as well. What do we learn out of the first term, crew?
Well, it's probably the power started off well with their pressure, wasn't it? The pressure around the contest, their tackling was great, and they just got the ball moving forward and made the most of those opportunities. And when the Giants were looking to forward handball, they were able to close that down and turn over. But to the Giants' credit, they got back into the game through clearance as well. They evened up those clearance numbers and controlled the footy a bit more. They kicked, mark, and worked their way up the ground, and then were able to hold it in the front half and score off the back of that as well. So interesting to see. We talked about, obviously the Giants, that's their game plan, and will they keep running and gunning and handballs through the middle? But, when they did slow it down and control a bit, they got back in the game. But and then the power came back in those last few minutes there and did a bit of the same as well.
Yeah.
They were able to, maintain a bit of position on the field and get it deep inside 50.
Well, it's interesting watching them live. The Giants obviously haven't seen them live this year, but just their willingness to keep the ball alive with hands. And as you said, Joe, you summed it up beautifully in the first half of that first quarter. Port Adelaide's pressure was good. Their game was breaking down, but then they started to control the game a little bit more. At one stage, they were running to almost one kick to two handballs. Now they've evened it up. It's almost 1-to-1. 58 kicks and 56 handballs. But it's an interesting style of footy, and I sort of look at Port Adelaide, and we talked about it pre-game, if the Giants can get the game on their terms, and if Port Adelaide's pressure isn't at the level, you can see why they're so dangerous and their ability to transition the ball from their D50 to their forward 50 with those quick hands. So it'll come down to that from Port Adelaide's point of view. Maintain the rage, maintain the pressure, and see if you can shut down the Giants' ability to use their hands. The other thing from Port Adelaide's point of view, and I think you summed it up beautifully, Joel, in that first quarter, is that the Giants defended the ground really well. Port Adelaide really struggled to move the ball in the second half of that first quarter from sort of half back or deep in their D50, because they did set up their zone and press the ground and played the game in their front half.
Yeah, 15 inside 50s for the Port as well, with only one mark inside 50. So where they're hitting that target, that last kick inside 50's been poor, and they're kicking to a lot of one-on-one contests, and the Giants defenders at this stage have been able to neutralise that.
Yeah.
Normally they're so strong at that in terms of their delivery inside 50, so a testament there to Adam Kingsley's men that they've been able to at least negate some of the opportunities. The ruck situation you were touching on during the quarter, Josh, so this is the first time in the Giants' history that Briggs and Madden have played together, and they're getting smashed in the early stages. They've had one hit out to advantage. Hasn't quite hurt them in terms of first possession, but you don't want to lose that hit out stat too much.
No, just looking at the numbers, the hit outs at the moment, it's 12-5 in favour of Port Adelaide. And if you look at the breakdown, some of the hit outs to advantage and first possession, you're right, Port Adelaide have controlled that area of the game. But I thought the Giants sort of got it back on their terms in the back half of that first quarter. But you're right, it's a big job from Port Adelaide's point of view with Sweet and the midfield group that they've got. But equally as well, the Giants, they're pretty handy in there as well. But the hit-out's definitely an issue at the moment. But you're right, it's not translating into clearances, and the Giants were able to arrest momentum there.
Leading possession winner Lockie Whitfield with 11. Harvey Thomas has 10 at 100% kicking efficiency. Shout out to him, because there's been a little bit of a narrative brewing that he could put his hand up if we did go down the path of an actual All-Australian wingman, which we know we won't because we never do. But for a guy who's still very early in his career and wearing Phil Davis's number, He's had a pretty good campaign. He's averaging 19 touches on the outside and has had 10 in the first quarter tonight, Joel.
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, he's had a great year and such a good ball use as well. I mean, anyone that's gone at 100% by foot is extremely damaging. And just depending on where he gets those balls, you want him getting that footy forward to centre, and he's the one that you want him delivering inside 50s and hitting those targets.
Jason Horne-Francis, the best for the Power with 8 touches and a goal.
I reckon he's looked sharp, Horne-Francis. Started the game really well. And again, we've spoken about the luxury of that Horne-Francis gives the Port Adelaide coach Josh Carr. You can throw him on ball. Every time he's in the centre bounce, something happens. Equally, when he's forward, he just generates something.
Floated this idea this morning. Port have had co-captains in the past. Could they do Horne-Francis and Rosie in 2027?
They could. Not sure.
If they should.
They should, but
I'd be surprised if they did. I don't think they really liked it, did they? I think that became
they did it for 1 year and
controversial.
essentially moved on. So
yeah.
That was the Wines and Jonas Stace. So Port by a point, second quarter underway on ABC Sport. Madden wins it down and then toes the footy forward for the Giants, kicking to the right-hand side of your radio dial, the Riverbank stand end. Hamilton knocks it to Oliver, gets it to Ralston inside 50. It was a hit and hope and landed right in the hole where Cornelio was waiting. He'll take his set shot, 35 out, 45 to the right. And Stephen Cornelio, who looked a shell of himself at the start of the year when he lost his midfield minutes, starting to really shine up forward, Joel.
Yeah, he's been pretty dangerous. Kicked 3 last week and was one of the shining lights in a pretty average performance. So always competes. And like you said, he did lose his way a little bit at the start of the year, but he's starting to come good.
Spoke about the cultural heritage game as well tonight. He's got an Italian background, Stephen Cornelio, but born and raised out west. Cornelio crosses the paint of 50. That's a good-looking hit. Heads towards home and through the big sticks. Giants snatch the lead for the first time tonight. They're up 3-1-19. Port Adelaide 2-2-14. Opening minute of the second term on ABC Sport.
Well, we've spoken about it time and time again. If you can win that centre bounce and get the ball going forward, worst case scenario, it puts the opposition defenders under the pump. And they weren't under the pump on that occasion because no one was within 20 metres, 15 metres of Cornelio. And when you're playing to state, you're playing Port Adelaide on their home deck. To go back, kick from 50, you must finish, and he did. So well done to Cornelio.
Yeah, there's a few whispers that there might be a contract back in Perth if he was willing, and it's amazing how your form turns around pretty quickly when that happens.
I just remember that 2019 season where he hurt his knee in the back end. He was one of the Brownlow favourites in that year that they got to the grand final. He couldn't make it back in time. Being a legend of the Giants, that's for sure. So from the ball up, Bergman wins a free kick. Short to Burgoyne, out 85 from home. Looking for Horne-Francis, who flies at this one. Couldn't complete the mark. Ball in dispute. Power forwards putting a lot of pressure on. Quick kick out of defence there from Himmelberg, and it just ends up with Josh Lai. Right half forward for the Power. He can send it back in. Have been setting up well here, the Giants. Goes towards left half forward, and it's Horne-Francis. Second attempt. Hits him on the chest. Marks probably 25 out in a 45-degree angle.
He's the man, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's dangerous in the midfield, and it looks like no one can really go with him down forward as well. The Giants defender's a bit lost there, but looks quick, looks strong. He's a good presence, isn't he?
Obviously gets the Dangerfield comparisons, Gary Ablett Jr. type vibes. Just being able to float forward, explosive. Chance to put Port back in front after Cornelio gave the Giants the lead. In comes Horne-Francis. Goes a drop punt, and you can hear the crowd's jeers. Certainly didn't middle that one, away to the left. So minus score, Port 2-3-15, GWS 3-1-19, 3 gone in the second term.
Quick entry from Whitfield, pops it short. Links up with Lockie Ash as he gets it back. Goes for a run through left half back, and Whitfield with a long bomb down to the logo. Brown launches 2 to beat off hands as both Power defenders committed. Himmelberg's lurking and waiting. Releases Bedford, who spins through trouble. Heads to the left forward pocket and getting in some space is Grushevsky. Broke away from Alia, not quite confident enough. He wants to share it up towards the left forward pocket. Cadman on the tight angle, but he hit the wrong side of the paint, and it's out on the full. Grushevsky could have had a shot from 48. Instead, he's turned it over. Port's footy in defensive 50, but they're down 4. Darcy Burns-Jones has it, mentioned earlier. Game 241 tonight, so passes Peter Burgoyne for 7th overall at the Power.
Dangerous kick there from Bergman, but still found Lockie Jones at centre half back. Marks in front of Oliver. Another dangerous kick, and he found Burgoyne in amongst 3 Giants. Quick handball off to Bergman, who started it all, and that kick was smothered by the big ruckman. Madden did well. Handballs into the middle of the ground towards Oliver. Looking for some support. He goes the 1-2 with Angwin. Kicks around the body towards the centre wing. One-on-one contest there, Grachevsky and Aaliyah. Aaliyah goes to ground, socket off the deck by Angwin to Brown. Well done, Angwin. Goes the 1-2, strides inside the forward 50, has a go for home. What a solo effort, Ryan Angwin. That was brilliant. The Giants with the last 4. 4-1-25. Port 2-3-15, 4.5 gone, second term.
Well, there's a couple of things to unpack there. When Lachie Jones has the ball in his hands at half-back, I do get a little bit nervous. That kick that he did pinpoint to Jace Burgoyne, but put him under the pump, didn't he? And then the turnover came, but the ground ball, I think it was Brown on the outer side.
Cal Brown, yeah.
He was clean. He had pressure coming from behind, and to give on the up to Angwin, and that was superb. That was unbelievable from Brown. That's not easy to do. And then the finish from Angwin, outstanding.
These are the first rounders we spoke about in the pre-game.
Yeah.
Joel, the future of the Giants, who some say are headed towards a cliff, but you've got Ryan Angwin coming through, he had a really good fortnight. First round pick in 2020. Excellent finish there as well. So he's got 9 touches and a goal.
Just looking at another matchup, it looks like Burgoyne has the job on Oliver.
Giants by 10 and have kicked 4 in a row. Madden out of the middle. Tunnels a swat out to O'Halloran. Tries to use Ralston. Does enough to get it to Oliver. Now Ash. Darts inboard away from Lyons and releases Ralston. Drives it into the 50. Cadman nearly took the juggling mark against Ram. Goes low to try and gather the footy. Toe came in from Stringer, who follows up. Tackled by Ram, who lingered a little too long. The ball came out. He brought him to ground. This is one of those where how's the player supposed to know?
Like it. Yep.
So Ram's got his head down. Almost a spear tackle as he drives him forward, and then the ball pops out. Ram has no idea, brings him to ground, and it's holding the man.
Yeah, I've said that a few times up here, and I don't like that free kick. I understand it's there technically because he didn't have possession of the ball, but I'm not sure what chance the tackler has, particularly when he doesn't know if the ball's being knocked out or he's still in possession of it. So, for me, that's one I reckon should be play on.
Jake Stringer won't mind at all. He'll start at the attacking edge. Slightly left of centre. Man on the marks, 45 out. Stringer right on the paint of 50. Heaves it with a helicopter, and it's wide right. The Giants by 11. Game high lead for them at the moment. 4-2-26, Port 2-3-15. 6 played second term.
Well, you talk about Lachie Jones there, Josh. He's kicked that straight out on the full from the kick in.
As I've said, he makes the easy look hard and the hard look easy.
That's a good call. So Iden's worked his way up. Goes short to Ash, asks to play on. He does have a long leg, but tries to hit a target inside forward 50. Just Hamilton couldn't gather on the half volley. Back to Horn Francis for Port. Exit kick up towards Drew. Ash fists it back in. Hamilton takes it back out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 45 from the Giants home. They're up by 11.7 minutes into this second term.
Just the one lead change, but almost a half of 2 halves the way it's been going. Joel Patfull, Josh Franco, your experts tonight. Aaron Bryant and Tom Wilson with you. Tossed in. Sweet wins it down. Knocks it towards the bootlaces of O'Halloran. Ricochet to Hamilton. Gets it to Oliver. Centering kick to the goal square. Trying to fly as Grachevsky. Had 2 with him. And someone held him at the back. Free kick going the Giants' way. 20 from home. Right forward pocket.
That's a big job tonight for Grachevsky on Aaliyah. He's almost playing a defensive role, so huge bonus to get a shot at goal here. He's been doing okay, neutralising a few contests. But the Giants' hands in close have been really good this quarter. They've been able to feed it out, been really clean. Power not able to stop that.
Aaliyah with the stray arm in front. There's a clear-cut free there. Max Grachevsky, hot property at the moment, out of contract, the youngster. Comes in. Straight line kick, but was always left. Misses. The Giants thrown away a couple of opportunities here. They've had 4 scoring shots out of the 5, but only kicked 2 goals so far in this term. They're up by 12. 8 played second term on ABC Sport.
We mentioned the Jace Burgoyne-Oliver matchup. I reckon Oliver's starting to get off the chain a little bit. He's had 13 disposals, only going at 50% kicking efficiency, but starting to impose himself in this contest.
Big strong grab from Madden from Lorenz's kick in. Right half forward for the Giants. Pumps it back in. A lot of re-entries here. And Aaliyah works back to punch that out over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Tell you what, Aaliyah's developed into a player, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Just reliable, dependable. Air assist. He's just a really good player.
And he's had to lead a young defence this season. You know, with Radaglia going down.
Yeah, true.
That awful injury. So boundary thrown right forward pocket for the Giants. Kicked the last 4 from the ruck contest. Cadman got it down towards Cornelio. Socketed it off the deck. Stringer's in there as well. So too Thomas laying a tackle. The next one in. Delana holding the ball. Trying to exit out there was Zato. And the sheer weight of tackling numbers will create another shot at goal. 30 metres out, slight angle to the right.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Particularly when you're sort of 30 metres out from goal. Do you take the tackle and risk getting caught holding the ball? He took the tackler on, but the pressure from the Giants was immense. 3 coming at him. The world was caving in on him, and great pressure, great tackle.
So Joe Delana. 6th match of the year, 9th in his career. Yet to register a major. He'd know it. I'm sure his teammates know it. In from 35 metres out. Goes the drop punt. Tries to sneak it in. Pushed it across to the left. The Giants wasting some opportunities. A couple of gettable ones. They go to 4-4-28. Port 2-3-15.
If he drove that onto the fairway, it would fade wide right and onto the other green, I reckon. It's a bit of movement. Port move it out of defensive 50. Lorenz with a short pass, and Josh Lai, Singaporean heritage, first player in the league to believe to be had so, heads down the line. He was trying to get it out towards Whitlock, getting in front with the strong hands O'Halloran. Great to see him in person, a bigger body than you anticipate when you watch him on the telly. Kick central, just caught off though. Zato pounces as he darts in front. Intercept Port Adelaide left half back. He'll head wide on the 45 to Bammett. Game number 8 tonight. Drills it down the line. Bullet pass to the chest of Burgoyne. True centre wing right now, headed towards the hill. Wide 45 to Bammett, wasn't 15, called to play on, doesn't hurt him. Methodically up towards Horn Francis. Kick mark for Port.
They don't want to kick long, do they, Port Adelaide?
They're going to have to now. Horn Francis waits and waits for a lead and finally gets one. Mitch Zato, who started it all. Got into the 50, arced around Iden, led out and takes it 48 from home on a tight angle to the left.
Yeah, it's a good call. That Giants defence is just looking pretty strong, isn't it, there? As he plays on.
Tried to hand it off. Giants had it scouted as he tried the 1-2 with Drew, but he was banged into, bulldozed by Clayton Oliver too high. So free kick to the stand-in skipper Drew, and Port get a second chance at that one because it was looking a little hairy. That being said, man on the mark's now outside of the 50, so Willem Drew is certainly going to have to find another option. They
just don't want to kick long here, do they? They don't want to hit the top of the goal square.
Centres to Aaliyah, just wide of the corridor in the centre square. Now back on the 45 to the attacking edge. Lorenz, again, still too far out. They're just stat padding Lorenz to Aaliyah again. Giants have flooded defensive 50, only 3 outside of it, and they find the gap. Aaliyah lowers the eyes, puts it in the holder. Bergman, set shot to come straight in front. Braden Ingram downstairs.
So in that infringement with Drew, Clayton Oliver has just appears to have hurt his hand or left thumb. He was grabbing at it. He tried to stay out there. He's now coming to the bench.
Would be a blow. He's had a big night already. Miles Bergman. Rare foray forward. The only person who had Brownlow votes in the last encounter between these two is out there tonight. Bergman comes in. Kick looks good. Flushes it from 40. Margins down to 7. It's the Giants 4-4-28. Port Adelaide 3-3-21. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. 13 minutes into the second term. Josh Franco, Joel Patford with you.
Well, we're just talking about Port Adelaide's refusal to kick long to a contest deep inside their forward 50. I reckon the crowd was just about to start the booing or get a little bit restless in terms of how they were trying to move the ball inside their forward 50. But Aaliyah was terrific. Spotted up Bergman, and how often do you see it when a side dominates possession, field position, all the rest of it, can't hit the scoreboard, as the Giants did in the early stages of this second quarter, and then Port Adelaide go down and kick one. So one against the momentum for Port Adelaide.
Back in the middle of the ground. A run of 4 Giants goals. Visentini from the ruck. Kicks it inside the forward 50, gets that in quick, and Sam Taylor, what a gun. Just got in front of Georgiades, takes the intercept mark. So the Giants had 8 of the last 10 scoring shots before that Bergman goal. Only leading by 7 points. Oh no, Connor Iden slipped over. He's had his pocket picked by Durden, who finds Georgiades in the goal square. Oh, coach killing stuff.
That's exactly what it is.
What's happened there?
I don't know.
He's had a mare, hasn't he? It looks like they were exiting the defensive 50, and he's almost tripped and just spilled, hasn't he? But Georgiades has been quiet as well.
He has. Taylor's done such a good job on him. This is heartbreaking. Georgiades from the top of the goal square. He's not missing them. And Port, just like that, go back to back. They're within a point. Giants 4-4-28. Port 4-3-27. Halfway through this second quarter, Connor Iden had the skates on.
Well, you wouldn't be happy if you're Sam Taylor, would you? I was almost just about to say how good a job he's done on Georgiades. Hasn't really been sighted. And then Connor Iden has dropped an absolute sitter. I don't know how he's done that, but turnover, Georgiades in the goal square, and the power kick 2 in a row and get him back in the game when they look like they were a bit flat and up against it.
Well, I didn't actually see the drop mark. I thought the kick might have been a little bit off centre, but he'd have opened his mouth, he would have swallowed it. Poor old Iden. And then you're right, he had the skates on, the ice skates on, didn't he? Couldn't keep his feet, but that's Georgiades. He'd take that every day of the week, wouldn't he?
Rough start as a stand-in skipper, gets belted by the crosstown rival, and now he's fallen over at the Adelaide Oval. Madden down, holding free kick in the ruck contest. Well, just outside of it, O'Halloran, as Drew just had a bit of the Guernsey. So O'Halloran, penetrating kick. It's long and hard to the 50. Ran with the fist, 30 from home. Diving onto it, Burne-Jones couldn't control the footy. Gathered by Delana, brought to ground. Lingered for a while, that tackle, before they finally blew the whistle. There will be a ball up, 25 out from the Giants' goal. Leading by a point. Vicentini down, almost hit Bedford in the end, who was streaming through. Would have been an easy shot on goal.
He's a bee's whisker away, wasn't he?
Thomas
Bedford
tackles Bergman, and we go back again. Tap down. Hamilton, little wide for him. He tries to wrap up Watkins. Ball ricochets over the boundary line. Shout out to DJ on the text line, 0437 774 774, who says Port should keep Zerk Thatcher and Lorenz and bring Bobby Hill in as well.
Boundary throw in. Get to that shortly. Ruck contest, roved by Stringer. Handball away, intercepted by Watkins. Gets it to Berry, who has been busy. Out towards Aaliyah in the right back pocket. Clearing kick, flying is Georgiades. Got some confidence after that goal. 45 kick to Wines. Still at right half back. The switch is on. Won't have the numbers. Burne-Jones is there. Left half back. Goes inside to Vicentini on the 45. Back to Burne-Jones. Strolls through the centre square. Hits up Drew on the chest. Thought about going to Burne-Jones again, but goes short. Finds Wines. Near the centre circle. Slow build-up play for the power. Here comes a long kick now, and Georgiades is all on his own. And he's crumpled into by Taylor. I think that's going to be 50. And there's the noise of affirmation. Another gift for Georgiades, who took the easy mark on the lead. Sam Taylor was late, and he's going to get another goal from the goal square.
Well, I'll tell you what Port Adelaide did well there is they just kept changing the angle of the kick, and it was really difficult to defend. And you spoke about it with one of their previous goals. The refusal to kick long, lowered the eyes, found Georgiades, and got rewarded for it. That was good play from Port Adelaide.
So efficient ball use. A bit of a brain fade from a superstar in Sam Taylor, and Georgiades goes back to back from the top of the goal square, and Port Adelaide are in front here in the second term. They're 5-3-33, GWS 4-4-28, 18 gone in this second term.
It's a funny game, footy, isn't it? You can be nowhere near it for a quarter and a half, and now he looks like he's up and about. He's taking marks on the wing, and he's getting back inside 50, and Sam Taylor's got his hands full. So how quickly the game can change. But you're right, that ball movement from Port, it seems to be a clear directive that they're almost refusing to kick it long. They won't kick it long inside 50 because of Taylor's back there, Himmelberg's down there, Iden's back down there as well, but they're just piercing their way through that zone really methodically and then finding that target inside 50.
Game of runs, Port with the first 2, the Giants with 4 unanswered, now Port with 3, and they're up by 5. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Clayton Oliver just back on the ground, spent about 5 minutes off getting that left hand taped up.
Straight back into the middle alongside Jace Burgoyne. Nick Madden up against Vicentini. The latter wins it down with his fingertips. Wines dives in, shoots the handball to his ruckman. It's sharked, just snatched away by Oliver, who got it out to Ralston. Kick no good, about 2 metres. Burne-Jones dumps it up to half forward for Port Adelaide. GWS have the numbers. Fonte slides in to gather, but lifts up his head towards trouble. Wines was lurking, wraps him up in the tackle and drives him inside Port's 50 for a ball up. We're 10 minutes away from the Blues and the Lions getting underway. You can hear it on ABC Listen, but we'll get you there for the second half. Madden down and a whistle before the ball drop. I believe it's going to be a holding free kick the way of Mitch Zaddo. Non-controlling umpire darts in from the eastern side, and Port with another set shot to come off a free kick.
Well, I'd like to see the replay of that. I must admit, I didn't see it live, but clearly Zaddo got held onto by his direct opponent.
They're saying Fonte, who was the man who got to the footy first, so Mitch Zaddo, the Pinjarra product, crosses the paint of 50. Straight line, right over the goal umpire's hat. Excellent finish, and it's Port by 11 with 4 straight goals. 6-3-39, the Giants 4-4-28. Time on second term for Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Joel Patfull and Josh Franco.
Oh, I just had a look at the replay. There's not a lot in it.
Nah.
The ball was hit forward by Vicentini straight to Zaddo, but I'm just looking at another angle. Maybe it was paid high, was it? Or holding?
Pretty tough being a defender, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much in that.
Off the ball free kick, isn't it? It's another one for Port, so a bit of a worry for the Giants. Couple of free kicks ending in goals again, but made the most of it as well, didn't he? Made sure the umpire saw it with the arms in the air.
It just goes to show momentum. When you have momentum, you've got to hit the scoreboard. The Giants were unable to do that in the early stages of this second, but you've got to hit the scoreboard because momentum has now swung in favour of Port Adelaide.
Sweet down to Wines, tackled by 3 Giants. So Port kicked the first 2 of the game, and the Giants kicked the next 4. Power have kicked the next 4 after that. So they need a response, the visitors. Oliver trying to hustle this one out, but only ends up with Burgoyne up towards the goal kicker, and Zaddo, who bounces up and down. Couldn't quite get his kick away. Thomas was clever. Might have been a throw. It was. So he scooped that up. Pleads his case with the umpire. Goes to Sweet. And there's going to be someone stepping in from the side. 50. Another one. Oh. So Sweet's going to be marched up to about 25 metres out directly in front.
Tell you what, that's a big price to pay, isn't it?
Does anyone know this rule?
No, I don't reckon they do. No, I don't think they do, Joel. And look, the reality is, I like to see the replay, but he's not impeding the kicker.
No, I think he's played on as well. I think that's what's happened here. So he steps off his line there.
Was it against Whitfield?
I think it may have been. It's saying free against, 50-metre penalty for Whitfield, so in that area. But Sweet had played on.
I thought it was, I'm not sure who it was, but coming in the protected area. I thought it was that. I don't know, as I said, who it was, but...
So Jordan Sweet, can he make the Giants pay? Just away to the left. That really would have hurt. Would have made it 5 straight, but a minus score in the end. Margins 12 points. Port 6-4-40. Giants 4-4-28. Almost 23 gone in this second term. They need to find something here, the visitors.
Free kick count's pretty even, 11-10 Port's way, but it has been more damaging where the Giants have given them away. At a defensive 50, here is Lockie Whitfield. Disposal 14 incoming. Left half back, he heads for the corridor, had to be precise, he was perfect. There was a flurry of teal around Xavier O'Halloran. Heads out to Ralston, defensive edge. Down the line he goes. Passes up to Cornelio. Whitlock definitely ran in from the side there. That should have been 50, they just paid it. Cornelio asked the question, then kicks towards the 50. Getting in front, Lockie Jones had a hard landing. Ball bobbles out as Port try to clear it. Clear engulfs Angwin. Get a ball up. 30 out, right forward pocket. Whitlock even knew. He turns to the umpire and said, "I'm so sorry, they didn't pay it." Tossed up, Sweet down. Drew again does the volleyball tap towards Burne-Jones. Clearing kick, awkward bounce for Angwin. Horn Francis coming the other way. Gets it to Wines. Tunnel ball, handball. Through towards Burgoyne, and Oliver just won't let go of him. Stuck the arm in. Swings him over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in right half forward for the Giants.
A lot of faith in Burgoyne, isn't it? Going to someone like an Oliver, giving away probably 10 or 15 kilos as well with his light frame. But Oliver looked threatening earlier, but he's fallen out of the game the last 10 minutes.
Ragdolled him with that tackle there. Oh, look at Horn Francis burst through from the clearance, hits up Durden in the middle of the ground. They're streaming forward, the Power. Goes out wide instead towards Burne-Jones and missed the kick. They were going in the right direction, the Power. Now they've turned it over. O'Halloran goes short out wide to the outside of the ground. Krzyzewski tried to kick it in and kicked it into the man on the mark, Aliir. Balin O'Brien gathers support. His kick misses as well. Turns it over to Ash for the Giants. He goes back inside the forward 50. Flying high. Roving, though, was Krzyzewski. Snapping to a dangerous position. Can he hit the target of Cornelio? He does. 20 metres out directly in front.
Wow, that was a kick. Was that Krzyzewski?
It was.
Struggling to say his name. Yeah. That was outstanding under pressure. And, just was it the banana or the snap to find Cornelio? That's easier said than done, but that was a beautiful kick to centre the ball to Cornelio.
Yeah, running back towards the goal square. Snap around the body. Krzyzewski. Cornelio lining up for goal number 2 on the night. The veteran pumps it straight over the goal umpire's hat, and he celebrates hard with his second and breaks a run of 4 straight goals for the Power. Much needed for the Giants. They're back within 6. They're 5-4-34. The home team, Port, 6-4-40-25 gone second term.
Krzyzewski? Is that how you say it? Krzyzewski? I think so.
It's like a roll.
There's like a Krzyzewski.
Yeah, Krzyzewski.
It's a roll. No, it was good. It was good, wasn't it? A bit of broken play. I mean, it's come off the back of a Power turnover again, exiting their back 50, and Krzyzewski, great bit of skill. Cornelio, he's looking dangerous again up forward. This is his second for the night, so bit of energy around the contest. He's always so dangerous because he's that player that gets on the end of it off a quick turnover late. He's always so quick to respond, finds those gaps in between that defence and finishes well.
Just looking at both sides, efficiency inside 50 this quarter. Giants have gone in 9 times for 3 goals, 3. So what's that? 66%. And Port Adelaide 7 entries inside 50 for 4 goals, 2. So both efficient inside 50, both teams.
Out of the middle, Horn Francis tracking the footy but buffeted away from it by Ralston. Burgoyne had 3 to beat, spun around and got it out to Horn Francis. Thumps a jamming kick forward. Didn't quite work for Durden, who was caught behind Ash. Takes it on the painted defensive 50. Dan's not happy on the text line, says, is the umpiring for real? Are they expecting votes from the Port fans? Maybe they're trying to get home safe, Dan. Kicks up towards half forward for the Power, off hands. Light uses it to Lockie Jones, then Aliir heading back to the eastern side. His kick looking for Zaddo. Well controlled there by Fonte. He had 2 touches on it over the top from behind. A man they call Fontempelli, but I asked the Giants during the week and they have no idea where it came from. But they're taking it. It's a pretty good comparison. Heads wider towards the boundary line. Far from home. Entering kick coming from O'Halloran. Front of the Williams stand, heads to the left forward pocket. Aliir got right in the hole to try and take it amongst a flurry of bodies. Couldn't quite control the mark. He's brought to ground. We get a ball up. Dangerous area for the Giants right now. Right in front of the Riverbank stand. They're down 6, looking to tie the game. Sweet taps it down. Bergman becomes the tackler as he wraps up Toby Bedford. Another ball up to come. Same spot, about 15 out, left forward pocket.
Quick ball up. Trying to rove this one is Thomas. Takes on 2 tacklers. Bergman and Burgoyne. Throws it back to the umpire. Trying to get this one moving. Over the top was Sweet towards Burgoyne. He's wrapped up quickly in a tackle. Delana and Oliver. 4th ball up in a row. Deep inside the Giants 50. Sweet knocks it down. Roved by Burgoyne. Quick kick out. Up towards Whitfield, who got there and took it on the full. Might just be outside of his range. He is one of the best kicks in the comp. Kicks a dangerous ball to the top of the goal square, flying over the top. Hamilton couldn't complete the mark. Cadman's in there as well. Ball in dispute. Bottom of the pack there. Brown.
Thought Whitfield could have used Oliver there. Had him on top of the 50, just a little lateral kick inside, but chose to go long. Another ball up.
Delano was at the bottom of that pack. Briggs in there in the ruck contest down to Burne-Jones. Will have another ball up.
Port have to be careful here as well. They'll be dying to pay a free kick here, the umpires.
It's been locked inside the Giants 50 but going nowhere. Tapped down, another tackle, another ball up left forward pocket. Everyone who's on the hill is so bored they haven't seen the footy in about 10 minutes. Toss back up in the air. Sweet gets rid of his opposing ruckman. Kick smothered. Ricochets to Stringer. Here we go. Kick travels 2 metres up and down, and a couple of power players just swat it through for a minor score. And at least we can break the deadlock. It's the Giants who are down by 5 off that behind. 5:35. Port 6:440. Time on second term. Here come the Power.
So through Lorenz at left half, back to Durden. He's looking for that 45 kick at the middle of the ground. Goes to Horn Francis, fists it away. 3 Giants if they can be clean. Cleverly done there by Drzewski. And then Stringer kicks a banana from 50 and dribbles it through. Oh, shaky Stringer. Something from nothing. He's got his second and the Giants are back in front. 6:5:41 Port, 6:4:40. 29 and a half gone. That was nonchalant.
He did it well, didn't he? I don't know whether was he going for goal? I think Jake Stringer's always going for goal, so I'm going to claim it. I'm going to say he was definitely going there. But just the Power exiting their defensive 50. They've had 3 or 4 tries at it and just can't quite get it out. A short to a 50-50, turned over, and then clean Jake Stringer from 50. What do we call? I've forgotten what they call that now. So is it check side or banana?
Yeah, check side. Yeah.
Across the border, so we're check side now.
Good to see. But he's one of the ones that needs to step up. I said before the game, I thought he needed to kick 4 or 5 to get the Giants over the line. So 2 so far, and looking dangerous when he's getting involved.
Was that Lorenz that kicked it from Port?
Yeah, towards Horn Francis.
Yeah, not the kick.
So Giants by a point, another lead change out of the middle. Port tow it forward. Horn Francis gathers, tackled to ground by Bedford and still got the handball away off the deck. Rouston, though, tries for the Giants to get it out. Towing in by Thomas, and then Rouston again, a bit of soccer as they try to move it out to the broadcast side. Hamilton edged down a bit by Lai, picked up by Delana. A couple of fakes, and then his kick hits the back of a teammate. Bobbles up towards right half forward. Bergman sliding in, can't trap it. Thomas gets it out. Little bit of a dinky throw there from Bedford, who gets it to Cadman from 50. It's a low dart and nearly got home. Photo finish, getting back on the goal line. Lockie Jones knocks it through and is GWS by 2 late stages of the second term.
So still time for Port if they want to go end to end. Lockie Jones is thinking that. He goes down the middle towards Ram, and Himmelberg just used his experience there. Handball's off to Ash. 75 from home, kicking into the pocket. Just a little bit too much on that for Grishevsky, and Jones over the top, fisted out over the boundary line. Another throw in right half forward for the Giants, up by 2.
Just got to hang on here, Port Adelaide. Just over 30 seconds to play in this second quarter. They've just got to hang on, and repeat stoppages are okay, but they can't concede a goal here, the Power.
So boundary throw in. Briggs up against Sweet. Sweet knocks it towards Lorenz. Quick handball out. Put Watkins under pressure. Bergman tried to ride the tackle. Watkins went in the underground. Is that out in the full? Has he handballed that into Thomas's boot? He has, but it was a half volley. So we'll have a throw in 35. The Power fans think it was out in the full. Just watching the replay. Hard to tell.
Into the ground.
Down into the ground. Bump ball at Adelaide Oval. Boundary throw in. Cornelio got that from the ruck contest. Thomas was tackled without it. Smothered ball. Still time here for the Giants. That could have been high against Horn Francis. It was. It was right in front of the umpire on the boundary line, who's in the best spot. Plays on quickly from 50 and kicks it out the full. We've had some moments of genius, and we've had moments like that half-time here at Adelaide Oval. We've got a bit of a thriller. The Giants are 6-6-42. Port 6-4-40. We've had a game that's a mirror. Port kicked the first 2. The Giants kicked the next 4. Then Port kicked 4. And then the Giants kicked the last 2 of the match.
Can we call it a Benny Hill thriller? The way it's
could.
going. 6-6-42 GWS, Port 6-4-40. Goal scorers 2 to Stringer and Cornelio, singles to Cadman and Angwin. For Port Adelaide, 2 to Georgiades and individuals to Zaddo, Horn Francis, Bergman and Marshall. Text line tonight 0437 774 774, and Dan says, I think you got it right in terms of the rolling Jay-Z, Grishevsky. So there you go, the Big Max. He has been lively throughout the night. Josh Franco, Joel Patfull, your experts on ABC Sport. We'll get to them in a moment. Just very quickly, around the grounds, Carlton and Brisbane about to get underway. No late changes there, and you can hear the game on ABC Listen. Just started, actually, so the Blues by 5, 1 straight 6. The Lions yet to score. The goal from Harry Mackay to get them underway. Earlier today, Sydney defeating St Kilda by 19 points. Had a 7-2 final term to get the job done after trailing late in the third. flurry of injuries as well. So Will Edwards had a whole pack collapse on him, ankle snap 45. It was an ugly affair for the young defender. Rowbottom hurt his hand in the opening few minutes, so he was out for Sydney. Jack Silvani late dislocated his shoulder and in a sling. Nasai Wanganimilera had 24 touches and 3 goals. Charlie Curnow had 3 to extend his Coleman lead to 57 majors. Nick Watson is right behind him with 52 after he kicked 5 in the Hawks' win over North Melbourne. So Hawthorn with 4 wins in a row. North have lost 5. Close game where the Roos again led at stages. There were 12 lead changes, but the Hawks kicked 5-2 in the last term. Get the job done down at Launceston. And Australia won the first ever women's representative game against Ireland in Sydney by 50 points. Aronibadi Marinoff had 25 touches and 11 tackles. I texted Lauren Borden, who called the game, and said, "Nothing stiff, not to win the best on ground." That went to Jasmine Garner, who had 18 and a goal, and she said, "Very." So there you go. But I don't think they'll mind. They'll just be happy to play with the best at North Sydney. Great crowd there and a good initiative a fortnight out from season 11 of the AFLW. All right, Joel and Josh, Double J's in the ABC Sport Box. We're at the major break with the Giants by 2. Where are we at in this football contest?
Well, Aaron, it's been a game of momentum changes, hasn't it? And we mentioned that at quarter time that Port Adelaide started the game really well, dominated field position, the pressure battle they were winning, and the GWS Giants looked a little bit rattled. But then they worked their way into the game at quarter time, and even in that second quarter where the Giants started the second, I thought superbly. They dominated field position, the inside 50s. At one stage, I think it was 7-1, but they just couldn't capitalise on the scoreboard. They had a couple of opportunities that they missed and opened the door for Port Adelaide to step into, which they did. So overall, look, it's been an entertaining contest in terms of those momentum swings, and it almost seems like the side that can be sort of most efficient with ball in hand is the side that's going to potentially go on and get the 4 points in this contest. But, look, it's an interesting game, Joel. I just found it,
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the team that can hold the ball in their front half is really kind of dominating the game, aren't they? Both teams are struggling to get the ball from end to end. You saw the Power kind of exit their defensive 50 4 or 5 times and couldn't quite, get it past the wing and get it into their opening half as well. So costly turnovers then coming back and the Giants scoring off the back of that. So, I think the intensity probably dropped a little bit from the Power as well. We saw them that first quarter, they were up and about and their tackle pressure dropped off a little bit. The Giants were able to get their hands clear in tight and really feed that through the stoppage and get the ball moving forward as well. So, I mean, the Power only had 7 inside 50s for the quarter, the Power, and 5 marks inside 50. So we talked about the change in their ball movement. They weren't bombing it long, but they were able to hit those targets inside 50 as well. So when they did go in, they were getting marks and they were scoring as well. So that'll be a big focus for them moving forward.
And even just looking at some of the numbers too, I thought Whitfield had a terrific first half. Oliver, and it looks like, as we said, that Jace Burgoyne's got the job on him. I thought he started to work his way into the contest, but he's had 14 disposals, and Thomas, we mentioned him at quarter time, he's had the 13. And Horn Francis has been the one for me for Port Adelaide. He's looked the most dangerous, whether it's centre bounce or whether it's ahead of the ball. He looks like the player that can break this game right open.
Well, he probably needs a bit of help, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks like they need 2 of him. They need one in the middle and then one deep forward as well. So if they had that, they'd be humming. But he needs a few of those guys to step up around him.
And they'll get it next year when Connor Rosie comes back, and obviously you've got Miles Bergman there, Jace Burgoyne's getting a bit of a crack, and maybe Zach Butters sticks around. But at least with the way that Jason Horne-Francis is playing, which is what everyone's been kind of waiting for him to get to, because he's had these injuries in the pre-seasons and just hasn't quite hit his stride yet. This feels like the breakout year for a guy who now next season, when he has premium guys around him, Port might not be headed towards a full rebuild. It might be a side that is on the up.
That's fair. And the interesting thing, and I wrote some names down. Burgoyne, Ollie Wines, he's one of the usual suspects, and Bergman started the first centre bounce attendance of that second quarter. It's almost a bit of the changing of the guard, isn't it? And one of the silver linings of Butters going out, but also Connor Rosie missing most of the season, is that you can expose these other guys to midfield minutes, and you know what, you might be able to uncover a few diamonds in the rough. So that's been one of the positives from Port Adelaide's point of view. Bergman, he had a really indifferent start to the season, but he's starting to, I guess, find his straps a little bit. And Burgoyne, as we said, I thought his game last week particularly was good, and he's got the job on Oliver. So there are some green shoots coming there.
So it's Josh Franco, Joel Patfull with you on ABC Sport tonight. It's the Giants by 2. We've had 4 lead changes, and it's been a pretty tight affair with Port by a point, and now the Giants by 2 at the major break Over at Docklands, Carlton by 4 over Brisbane, 2 straight 12 to 128, and you can hear it on ABC. Listen, all right, we've got a Commonwealth Games update coming very shortly from Ned Hall, but for now on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen, we can get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Noni Edwards. The South Australian government says a potential major mass mortality of birds caused by a deadly avian flu strain is to be expected. Testing for H5 bird flu is underway for a large group of dead and sick greater crested terns found on an island off the state's southeast coast. There are 53 confirmed cases of the strain across the country, the majority being in South Australia. The state's Environment Minister, Emily Burke, says if the latest event has been caused by the deadly strain, it'll prompt a swift change in the government's approach.
And would provide a significant change in our response and understandings of the impact on wildlife here in South Australia. As we've always said, we knew this was going to happen. We always knew that there would be impact and significant impact potentially on our wildlife.
US President Donald Trump is hailing his deal to disarm Hamas and move the peace process in Gaza forward as a great breakthrough. Hamas says it has agreed to fully disarm if Israel withdraws from the Gaza Strip and end its attacks. A senior Israeli official says the IDF will not leave Gaza unless the militant group undergoes genuine disarmament. 18-year-old Tala al-Maghrib lives in Gaza and she says she's sceptical that the deal will hold.
All we want it is a normal life and see an end. However, after everything people in Gaza have experienced, it is difficult to feel completely convinced until we see real change in the ground.
There are warnings Sudan faces a severe famine amid a drought and following 3 years of civil war. More from the BBC's Julian Bedford.
Gedaref State is known as Sudan's breadbasket, but many farmers there say the soil is now uncultivable because of lack of rain. Even if the weather breaks, they say, the damage has been done and crop yields will be greatly reduced. Levels of malnutrition across much of the country were described as severe even before the sharp rise in the price of staple goods over recent weeks. UNICEF has described the situation as a massive disaster that's getting worse by the day. There's no prospect of an immediate end to the fighting and little likelihood that the acute shortage of international assistance will be ameliorated.
The Spanish government says the death toll in the Ceuta border crisis with Morocco has climbed to 67. It's also announced it's installing a containment barrier along the breakwater fence into the sea after tens of thousands of migrants breached the border of the tiny Spanish North African territory this week. Spanish authorities say most of the estimated 60,000 migrants have now returned to Morocco. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said earlier the massive influx of people amounted to an invasion of Spanish territory. Widespread backlash has forced FIFA to scrap its plan to sell off the World Cup to private investors. Ali Crew reports.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino has backed down, announcing the proposal will not go ahead. The scheme to raise nearly $6 billion would have seen a new company created to run FIFA events, including the World Cup, with a stake sold to investors linked to Joshua Kushner, the brother of US President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared. The plan saw a top FIFA official quit, while FIFA CEO Kevin Lamore says staff were deceived by Mr Infantino. International soccer federations also objected, with Europe's governing body UEFA threatening a boycott and accusing FIFA of putting the sport's soul up for sale.
You're up to date with the latest from ABC News.
I'm Sana Kadar. Join me to explore the psychology behind the biggest questions in our lives, from relationships to stress levels to solving crime.
Your lie detection ability approximates chance.
Search All in the Mind on ABC Listen.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Canelio crosses the paint of 50. That's a good-looking hit. Heads towards home and through the big sticks. Giants snatch the lead for the first time tonight.
To Brown. Well done, Angwin. Goes the 1-2. Strides inside the forward 50. Has a go for home. What a solo effort, Ryan Angwin. That was brilliant. The Giants with the last 4. Oh no, Connor Iden slipped over. He's had his pocket picked by Durden, who finds Georgiades in the goal square. Georgiades from the top of the goal square. He's not missing them. And Georgiades goes back to back from the top of the goal square. And Port Adelaide are in front.
Mitch Zato, the Pinjarra product, crosses the paint of 50. Straight line, right over the goal umpire's hat.
Fists it away, 3 Giants if they can be clean. Cleverly done there by Drzewski. And then Stringer kicks a banana from 50 and dribbles it through. Oh, shaky Stringer.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Great to have you with us here at the Adelaide Oval in a tight affair between the Giants and Port Adelaide. The Power win. They're out of the bottom 4. GWS hoping to keep their wildcard hopes alive. They've got an easy run home, but they need to win pretty much all 4 of them. It starts tonight here in South Australia. It's so cold and dewy out there that it actually looks like it's raining, but it isn't. Crowd's pretty solid with 30K. Haven't seen the best brand of footy, but at least it's close. Over at Docklands, Carlton and Brisbane underway. Midway through the first, the Blues lead the Lions by 5 there, and you can hear it on ABC Listen through the AFL button. We're heading towards the conclusion of the Commonwealth Games. Pools all wrapped up. Bit of track and some cycling and some bowls today. Our Diamonds are in action. One man who's keeping his eye on all of it is Ned Hall, and he's been good enough to join us with an update on how it's all going. Ned, what's happened so far today?
Well, early stages of what's taking place at the moment. We'll probably start at the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome, where there has been some early action there in the cycling. And golden night last night for the Australians, clearing out a podium in a couple of events. The sprint qualifying has taken place, and Lee Hoffman, the fastest through into the next round, setting a games record on the way. Tate Ryan and Daniel Barber also successfully going through. And Kane Perris in the Tandem B sprint qualified second fastest for the semi-finals there. In the athletics, things are already underway at Scottstown. We've got Matthew Shepherd in the F57 shot put. He's currently in second place there. And there's been a bronze medal for Sam Rizzo in the 1500 metres in the T53-54 class. The women's 10K walk is underway. Only 6 competitors there, and 3 of them are Australian. So fairly high prospects of a medal out of that one. And the discus later this evening, Matt Denny is throwing. That gets underway in about 50 minutes from now, and about an hour from now it's the men's 400 metres with Tom Reynolds, and there's men's and women's 4x100 metre relays. Big stuff on in the athletics overnight with the men's 800 metres with Peter Bolgain there, and also the men's and women's miles with a full complement of Aussie athletes taking part in those. There's boxing golds up for grabs. Jai Dixon fights in the men's 55 kilo category. In the 65 kilos, it's Jacob Cassar fighting for Australia, and Emma Sue Roundtree fights in the women's 75 kilo category. Australia plays Jamaica in a couple of hours from now in the semi-finals of the netball. The winner will play England, or play New Zealand in the final, I should say. They beat England by 61 goals to 54 in the other semi-final played earlier on this evening. So that's the latest from what's happening in Glasgow this evening, Aaron.
We do love a good Australia and New Zealand netball affair. Medal tally, Ned, just quickly. So I know we've been dominant throughout the entire event, but where are we sitting at the moment?
Miles ahead of everybody else. I think it's fair to say that Australia is literally dominating by huge amounts. So far at the moment, the current medal tally, Australia 55 golds, 30 silver, 44 bronze, 129 in total. England now in second place with 18 golds.
Massive. Thanks for your time, Ned, and enjoy the rest of the Commonwealth Games across the next couple of days. It won't be a record because I think it's sitting around 200 in terms of medals in a single Commonwealth Games, which I reckon we had was back in Melbourne in 06, but because they've reduced the amount of events, we're not going to quite get anywhere near that. But it's still a pretty lopsided affair for the Aussies, who've been so dominant across so many different sports as part of the Commonwealth Games. And you can hear Ned across the weekend as part of ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you here at the Adelaide Oval, alongside Joel Patfull, the dual best and fairest winning Lion, who's made the trip from Sydney to come watch his 2 former sides go at it in the Joel Patfull Cup, and the 4-time Showdown medalist and North Adelaide coach Josh Franco's here as well. Earlier today, Sydney defeating St Kilda by 19 points, led by as much as 24, the Saints in the third term, and then Sydney with a 7-2 final term. So a couple of injuries for them despite the result. Roy Bottom with a hand, and Will Edwards with a broken leg. Jack Silvani dislocating his shoulder. Ross Lyon had some very stern responses in the press conference again. So was asked a few questions about Matthias Filippo, who had a quiet night. The journos were asking about some of the observations that some of the analysts had said, that Matthias has looked good at times and quiet at others, and Ross has a good relationship with him, and was continually pushed about some feedback that he had given to Matthias during the afternoon, which looked a little bit stern. And Ross essentially pushed back and said, I always look serious. It's a serious business. I don't sit there eating party pies and listening to Fox Footy. I get my insights like a lot of people do by watching the game. So he clapped back at a few of the journalists in that press conference and looked a little feisty again, Ross. But it's probably, again, a showcase of a man who can deflect well when the pressure's on, but also a guy who's probably feeling a bit of heat as their season slips away, Josh.
Well, we called I think it was St Kilda, I don't know if it was Port Adelaide or Adelaide, earlier this year. We interviewed Mateus after the game. I remember one of the questions was, did Ross have a few stern words to say? And his response was, he's always got stern words. So that's just him, and that's how he coaches. And I know he's got good relationship with his players, but it just seems like the media try to poke him, don't they?
Yeah, I think, to clarify, I think he's having a go at the experts there. I don't think he's having a go at the journos. I think he's saying that the journos tell him that there are some experts getting around at that broadcaster that don't really watch footy.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
which is like it's quite a pointed attack. So there's only a few that he could be targeting.
Is funny because he spent a bit of time in the media when he was between jobs, and probably has a few friends he might be targeting in that spray. So.
Yeah, I think he might be.
And normally he has them on side. You don't want to turn them against you, Ross, if it gets a little bit foul when your season's slipping away. But it makes the run home very enticing because St Kilda could have had a big upset to knock off Sydney and essentially locked away the 10. And now for GWS's sake and North Melbourne as well, we're in a live race for that last spot.
Yeah, they are. I think Ross might be under a little bit of pressure internally, so it's just they might be coming out at the end of his games. I think when they lose, especially when they've lost a couple of close ones like that, they have been around the mark and could have easily won a few of those games and then be in a better position. But going to be a big finish for the last 4 weeks.
That's spot on, mate. And there was that game last time they played Sydney where they basically led the whole day and got run over at the end. So. That's twice this season.
And Silvani out? Is that what you said? With his, so that hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah. Lions have kicked 2 in a row, so they're currently ahead of Carlton by 8, which means in the live ladder, the Giants are in 11th and only behind St Kilda on percentage and have West Coast and Gold Coast in the next 2 weeks. So everything's falling into place for them, but they're only up by 2 here at half-time, and they want to get over the line against Port Adelaide to try and really surge back towards a chance of playing wildcard finals, because around them, most of the teams in that same fight have really difficult draws. So Carlton have the second hardest, the Brisbane, St Kilda, Western Bulldogs and Freo. So they're really against it in terms of creeping in. St Kilda have one of the easier ones, so they've got the Blues, Richmond and Gold Coast. It might really come down to the Giants and Adelaide, round 24, which hopefully shapes up as a thriller, not a dead rubber. But a lot of the teams fighting for kind of 9th and 10th have got some heavy hitters to come in the final month. So,
the Saints. I mean, if the Saints are good enough, they'll get there. I think off the look of that draw, and then, like you say, the Giants, if they can steal one tonight, might be a chance if they can come back here and beat Adelaide in the last round of the year. But definitely going to be a tight finish.
Might head downstairs and check in with Braden Ingram before this second half gets underway. What's happening down at ground level, Braden?
Well, most importantly, both sides with a clean bill of health. The only issue is Clayton Oliver getting his left hand strapped up. Was a little bit sore, but he went straight back out on the ground. It is very chilly down here. Fortunately, it is clear. We're not going to have any issues with rain, but it is dropping by the minute. It feels like 7 degrees. I tell you what, Adam Kingsley towards the end of that quarter, before they kicked those last 2 goals, we know he can be a bit of a frustrated type at times, but he was getting more and more irritated with the way the game was heading, was pacing up and down the boundary line. So those couple of late goals will have relieved a little bit of frustration, but he'll be hoping his side can continue with that run in the third term.
He looked demoralised last week in the Swans loss, Joel. I've never seen him so within himself on the bench. He just looked like he didn't have any answers.
He's always pretty emotional. I think, they had the stress ball up there at one stage to help him settle down a bit. So he definitely rides the ups and downs with the team. But, it's just how it is, I think, AFL footy.
They've had a good run, the Giants. 8 of the last 10 seasons they've played finals. They need a win tonight to try and keep it alive. Sweet taps it down to Horne-Francis. And a free kick going his way against Bedford, who was right alongside him. The Hornet, who had 17 in the first half, and a goal as well. Backs up, heads out to right half forward. And the mark taken by Berry. Just behind the half-forward flank. Looks him bored and darts a kick to Georgiades on the lead. A very late hand from Taylor getting in. Great defensive effort. Horne-Francis tries to get it back inside for Port Adelaide. And O'Halloran cuts it off with a hand. Wine's brought to ground and will get a ball up. Gee, that was so well done by Sam Taylor. It looked like Georgiades was going to feast on that delivery.
Might have dropped the chest mark. So Clayton Oliver takes it out from the clearance. out towards the middle of the ground. Aaliyah does well, knocks it back towards Jones, who takes on a couple of Giants. Josh Franco worried here. Aaliyah's got it in the centre circle, did well. Got it to Berry on the wing. Marks in front of Thomas.
I've liked Berry's game so far.
Yep. Getting busier. He's normally a low possession sort of goal kicking sort of pressure forward, but playing a bit more behind the ball tonight. So Burn Jones just pumps it inside the forward 50 up towards the left forward pocket, and leading out was Laverde. Certainly a kick to his advantage.
Yeah, that was a poor kick, wasn't it, from Burn Jones? Just wasn't good off the boot, but just had to give his forwards a better look at it.
Goes back to Iden, who was much cleaner this time. Off to Himmelberg in the left back pocket.
Goes for a run, takes a bounce, and then darts inboard around Zatto. Happy to take on the tackler and gives it out towards Ash. And now Whitfield. High and long down the broadcast side. Aaliyah saw it early and flies, cutting across Cadman. Brought it to ground, did well with the Giants around him. Thomas's looping handball, no good to Delana. And a tackle has to be laid on Josh Lai to force a baller. It's GWS by 2. No score in the third term so far. Tossed up by Lee Fisher. Tapped down by Sweet straight to Oliver. Got it out towards Bedford, who bounced off a few bodies but couldn't get the disposal away. Berry sharks it out towards Zatto. Wines fell into. A couple of tackles were laid on Whitfield. The Giants went out. Thomas trying to putt the seas. Had 3 to beat. Couldn't really squeeze the kick through. Ricocheted off some shins. It'll work. Madden to Delana. And now Cornelio pulls the trigger from 50 and skids one home for his third. Stephen Cornelio at 32 with the acceleration out of the stoppage. And the Giants are the first of the third term. They're up by 8 at the Adelaide Oval. 7-6-48, plays 6-4-40. 2 played third term on ABC Sport.
Well, it was that forward handball, wasn't it? I think you mentioned, or you called it from Madden, from the ruckman. And I think it landed in the hands of Delana. His direct opponent, Burn Jones, just gave him far too much leg rope as we look at the replay. I'll tell you what, Cornelio's having a game, isn't he? He said he's hit 3 goals. He looked dangerous, really dangerous ahead of the ball job.
He's dangerous up forward, and he finishes well when he gets this opportunity, but that's twice that he's found himself in a lot of space inside that forward 50. So whether it's a bit of a defensive breakdown or whoever his direct opponent's just giving him way too much space, he's running a bit of a muck down there.
Vintage performance from Stephen Cornelio.
At the moment, he's on O'Brien.
Balin O'Brien, okay.
Third game.
That's tough.
Yeah, big ask.
So Bedford trying to get this forward. Falls back to O'Halloran. Handball towards centre half forward. Burgoyne's wrapped up in a tackle for the power by Delana. Holding his hand after that tackle. Up against Oliver. Madden knocks it down towards Oliver, who's mowed down in a tackle by Sweet and Burgoyne. Still at centre half forward for the Giants. Pye just asking for the players to clear the space and throws it up towards Sweet. He gets it down to Wines, but Oliver there couldn't quite gather him the first time, knocking it forward. And there's going to be a free kick, potentially for incorrect disposal. Maybe a tough call against Oliver. Port get it through Burgoyne, then Wines.
Wines spots a target he likes. On the charge was Marshall, forced to spoil in the end as Taylor got back. Ball shoots out of the 50. Berry tracks it well at half forward. Hands it back to Wines. Short curling kick across the body. Threads it out towards O'Brien. Too far out to score. Young Balin. Just the required 15 to Durden get the tape measure out. That was a tricky one. Durden sets it up. 20 from home. Horn Francis flew from the side. Couldn't come down with a footy as he crunched into Madden. Drew as the ball falls to him and he's wrapped up by Laverde. Ball up, 20 out.
What Port Adelaide defenders are really high up.
Sweet with the Hollywood tap overhead, trying to go to the goal square. Awkward bounce for Angwin. Taylor with the assist. He's mowed down by Georgiades. Full steam. Ball shoots to Drew, left forward pocket. Kick smothered. Taps it back to Wines. Can't step through traffic and drops the footy holding the ball. Free kick to GWS. They're up by 8 in the early stages of this third term.
So Angwin with the free kick. Kicks it from a left back pocket. Flying was Cadman. Had a couple of power plays to beat. Burn Jones robes, gets it to Jones, and Jones just misses a uncontested handball there. Handballs it straight out over the line. Cornelio will get the lasso free kick. So goes by hand to Ash, puts the skates on. Runs through centre wing, out of side of the ground, up towards left half forward. Lai brings it to ground. Stringer goes the fend off from 55. He's already kicked a great goal. Oh, this one might bounce through as well. John Franco just away to the left. He's doing everything today, Jake Stringer. That one's a minus score. 7-7-49 Port. 6-4, 46 minutes gone, third term.
9-point lead to the visitors. Aaliyah plays on, sends it towards the logo broadcast side. And Francis entangled with Laverde. Ball hits the deck. Picked up by Himmelberg for GWS. Chips his kick to Delana. Joey's looking good. Just his 9th game tonight. Said he was inspired by Israel Folau to join AFL. Growing up in the western suburbs. Central kick to O'Halloran. Still too far out to score. Port have zoned off centrally inside defensive 50. O'Halloran goes long to the goal square. Ram just charges in and nudged everybody out of the drop, including his teammate who's got the free kick, Lockie Jones.
Yeah, I think that was against Cadman, just to put a direct push in the back.
So Jones pops it to the right back pocket. Lies there. And a career high 18 touches at 83% last week, Lai. Heads back to the broadcast side. Little heavy in his kick towards Zatto. Himmelberg cuts it off for the Giants, just forward of centre wing.
Thought about going short, but ends up going by hand to Laverde. He pumps it from 80. In towards the left forward pocket, flying Grachevsky. Roving with Stringer. Goes the snap around the body to the goal square. Ram did well enough. Punched it into the goalpost there for another minus score. The Giants on top here. Can't quite convert their dominance. They go to 7-8-50. Port 6-4-40.
Last 7 scoring shots either side of half-time for the Giants, but 3 goals to show for it. Burn Jones heads out towards Marshall. Swingman tonight. Good kick. Hits up Bergman just behind centre circle. Heads towards the 50. Giants have the numbers, but it clears the pack. Georgiades was waking and it bounced off his bootlaces. Didn't get low enough to really trap it. Durden, handball sharked. Iden clears it. Up to right half back, and Grachevsky, far from home, has it in front of the Williams stand. Central kick, not the 15, to Ash, called to play on. No real pressure as he goes for a jog, knowing he had a power player breathing down his neck. Still didn't really put on the Jets. Eventually hands it off. Himmelberg clears it to left half back to Fonte. Short chip kick. Guides it up towards Thomas.
Defensive side, centre wing. Members side of the ground. Short ball to Bedford. Right in front of the power bench. Going short again to Fonte. Did the 1-2. Now kicks to a dangerous spot. Cabin gets 2 hands to it. Brings it to ground. Oh, that's holding the footy. Surely Ram didn't dispose of that. Play on, says the umpire. Handball over the top towards Cornelio. Back towards Thomas. He's 55 from home. Cornelio again inside 50. Another handball to Cabin. He's on his non-preferred side. Goes the don't argue. Not holding the ball either. How's he got rid of that? Lai has the footy in the pocket. There's 2 non-calls in both directions. The fans boo. Got to pay something.
Well, even Cadman stopped. I reckon he stopped thinking that's holding the ball and then didn't get paid, so he thought, I'll get back involved.
That's a shocker.
That is a shocker.
Trying to step through 3, flung the ball out, no whistle. Blues by 2 at Docklands, closing in on quarter time. It's the Giants here by 10. Tossed in. Tap down from Briggs. Gets it out towards Stringer. 2 to beat. Bulldozes through. Gets the centre. Screw kick. Angwin's waiting for it with Drew. Neither can take the mark. Drew on the bounce. Gathers tackled. Ball up, 30 out.
Looking dangerous, Stringer, isn't he?
He looks like he could do anything at the moment. He's keen to get on the end of it as well.
Crowd got something they liked, which was Lee Fisher falling over. He throws it into the air. Lines out of the stoppage. Tumbles the kick. Out of defensive 50. Georgiades had too much momentum, gathered the footy and then bounced off as he tried to shoot a handball wide. The Giants can't make the most of it. Georgiades gets another crack. Hands it off to Watkins. Short pass to Bergman. He's at right half back.
That went about 8 metres, that kick.
Bergman wants to go for the switch. Aaliyah in defensive 50. Has an option at left half back near the Wanganeen stand and uses it. Stand-in skipper Drew. Game 150-9. Out of Karoit. Heads towards the Bashir stand. Well-weighted kick. Bammett down the line. Port moving at its speed here. And pinpoint accuracy. Vicentini turns on a dime. Heads to Georgiades. Looks for the hanger. Couldn't pluck it. Falling in Whitlock. Shoots the handball out. The Giants in a sea of orange. O'Halloran back towards Laverty, thumps it out of there across the body. Vicentini nearly got it. Briggs had a hold of him, then gathers the footy, and here comes the counter-punch. Slingshot footy for the Giants. Briggs gets it to Krzyzewski, and Stringer caught behind. Lockie Jones dumps him, gathers the footy, and rolls through his third. Lockie Jones may have done something here as well as he hits the deck, gathering his hamstring. And Jake Stringer gets the plaudits of his teammates for the bully ball at the top of the goal square. And it is GWS by 16 points, 11 played, third term on ABC Sport. Lockie Jones still on his haunches, but looks like he's going to stay out there. Joel Patfull, Josh Franco.
Well, Porter did everything right, didn't they? They had the switch, they got it deep inside 50, but that Giants defence, they slid and helped out, ended up being a 3-on-2 deep, and it was Kieran Briggs who got it out the back, actually, and forced that overlap play, and Jake Stringer one-on-one deep inside 50 is always pretty tough, especially when he gets out the back. He just reads the play so well. It was the first one to move as soon as it looked like it was going out the back, and he looks like he's the one that could really be a game breaker at the moment, doesn't he?
3 goals. He called it pre-game as well, Joel. But he had to have a big one for the Giants to win. So Port kicked the first 2, the Giants the next 4, Port the next 4, now the Giants the next 4. A clearance coming the way of Jason Horne-Francis, takes a bounce, ship kick up towards Moraes, probably not the option. Fisted down by Fonte to the advantage of Brown, who steps back inside, up towards centre half forward, looking for Cadman, lands on his lap. Thought about the handball to Cornelio, he's 55 from home, probably just out of range. Stringer wants it in the goal square, and floating forward again was Brown, the effort. And he takes the mark, 40 from home and a 45-degree angle to the left.
I was just about to say, Horne-Francis should be in every single centre bounce from Port Adelaide because he looks so dynamic in there and looks so threatening, but just that choice of kick, that short 50-50 caused the turnover, and there's some really good ball use there from the Giants to find the connect inside 50.
He's had to go long, didn't he?
He did. Go long, go deep. Put the defenders under the pump, potentially draw a free kick, but at least if you turn it over deep, they've got to go back through all 18 of you instead of about 10 of you. In offence.
Callum Brown, a goal a game this year and a goal a game throughout his whole career. Got another opportunity now. That's a beautiful drop punt for Journey, just away to the left, minus score. So GWS dominating the start of this second half. They go to 8-9-57, Port 6-4-40.
Lockie Jones to bring it back in. Contract year for the first rounder. Plays on, gets right under a long arcing kick. Up to the broadcast side. Pack collapses as there were flyers from all sides. Whitfield read it well, but his handball picked off. Lai tries to get it back to Moraes. Whitfield brings him over the boundary line and caresses him to the turf. It could have been a big dump. Did well to control the momentum. Quarter time at Docklands. Blues by 4 over the Lions. You can hear it on ABC Listen through the AFL button. Here it's the Giants by 17. Joel Patfull, Josh Franco, your experts tonight. Giants trying to stay in the hunt for a wild card finish. Tossed in. Briggs thought he was held by Vicentini, who in turn also complained that who was actually the offender, but it's going the Giants' way. Briggs quickly steps inboard, pounds a kick into the 50. Cadman flies between 2, came to ground. Lai tries to tow it, nudged off the footy. They fall down, pancake style. Brown's on top, ball up just outside the Giants' 50.
Giants' pressure's been good this quarter as well. Tackle count 13-6, so double Port Adelaide's tackle count. Pressure around the balls has been outstanding.
Rove by Bedford. Kicks up towards the goal square. Alia's got time if he wants to nurse it over the boundary line. He does in front of Krzyzewski. So we'll have a throw in next to the left behind post.
And that's translating into field position, and it's 10-6 inside 50s the Giants' way in this third term.
Yet to score this half, Josh. Port. 5 shots to nothing.
I just sense the game's teetering a bit.
Boundary throw in. Rove there by Lorenz. Got the quick handball away. Thomas is first on scene for the Giants. He leaves it for Whitfield. He is a wonderful kick of the footy. And what a wonderful finish it is from Whitfield. Stepped inside from left half forward on the right boot. Drop punt, goal. That's 5 on the trot for the Giants. 9-9-63 Port, 6-4-40. Game high margin, 23 points halfway through the third term.
Well, it's teetering, isn't it? Like you said, and a goal like that definitely helps. I mean, Lockie Whitfield is such a good user of the footy, and you don't see him inside 50 too often, but when you finish like that, it's pretty impressive. 18 touches now, 19 touches for Lockie Whitfield, 1 goal off half back. He's been important for the Giants in that ball movement. such a good user through the middle of the ground, and as we saw then as well. But it's the Giants' defense. They're zoning and their structure. They're just holding that ball in the forward half of the ground. We've talked about it a few times, but the way they're working through those zones, there's no one-on-one matchups, but it's Himmelberg coming through third in, Taylor coming in third in, and they're able to turn it over and get it going back the other way.
And some of the numbers that Josh Carr will be a little bit concerned about. The Giants are +7 in tackles and +5 in contested ball.
Vicentini down, looking for Horn-Francis. Bergman there with the assist, but barging through. Rouston, the youngster, gets it inside 50, and Brown holds front position on Lorenz and takes the mark. Straight in front, slightly 40 out. Callum Brown. Another set shot to come for GWS. Port have not had a scoring shot since the 20-minute mark of the second term. We're heading towards time on in the third. One-way traffic right now. Callum Brown said during the week he's a bit flat, that he misses out on a representative game with Oz and Ireland out of County Derry. His Irish girls lost earlier today, but he might have a win tonight. Callum Brown from 50 strikes it pure. It's the Giants by 29 points in the blink of an eye. It's just 2 at half time. They're 10-9-69, Port 6-4-40. We've played 16 minutes into the third term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Joel Patfull and Josh Franco.
And just looking at that centre bounce clearance, Joel, being a defender yourself, they're the tough ones, aren't they, when it comes through the front of the centre bounce. Not a lot of pressure. Even though it was a hack kick forward, it just puts the defence under all sorts of pressure. And as you said, Brown on that occasion was good enough to take a really strong contested mark. And now you just start to feel that the floodgates could potentially open for Port Adelaide. They've got to get pressure back on the ball and maintain and sustain some sort of momentum. Otherwise, this game could quickly get away from them.
Back in the middle of the ground. Sweet just hurt from that ruck contest with Madden. He's on his haunches. We'll get Braden to keep an eye on that. Quick kick inside the forward 50. Intercepted by Balin O'Brien. That matchup on Keneally. Taking his time, the youngster. Pumps it from centre half back out towards the wing. Burgoyne contests the contest, or the mark I should say. Fonte's in there, gets it forward towards Angwin. Intercepted there by Lorenz. Handball back towards Wines to Berry. Snaps around the body. Taking it on the half volley was Bammett. Soccering Burgoyne up towards centre half forward, and it works to Moraes. Can he find a target inside the forward 50? Asking Whitlock to go long. It's a 2-on-1 for the youngster. Wasn't able to hit the target. Marshall put some pressure on. Soccering Bammett. Out of bounds on the full. Would have been something from nothing and something special. But still no score for the Power in this third term. They trail by 29 points. 18.5 gone in the third.
A bit lucky there, the Giants. Himmelberg dropped a sitter uncontested. Port nearly pounced. Iden gets it to him. Now Himmelberg short to Ash. Marks and goes as he breaks out a defensive 50 kick. Was a little high for his target and launching in amongst it all. Jason Horn-Francis almost landed on his head. He's popped up okay. He's pretty strong there, Jason Horn-Francis, but that was a bit scary. Ball up to come. Just outside the 50 for the Power. Madden gets it down to Oliver, who sidesteps through traffic and releases Bedford. Straight into fifth gear he goes. Shoots the handball to Delana. Now off towards Cornelio. Brushes off Moraes. Uses Rouston. Thomas on the paint of 50. Checks the kick up towards Brown. Aaliyah gets there to knock it back. And a tackle late on Lorenz that nearly slipped high, and they're going to pay it. Free kick, Port Adelaide against Riley Hamilton, who has it at the top of the defensive goal square. It's the Giants by 29. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Horn-Francis is the only player forward of centre here because he copped one straight after that ugly fall to the ground. Just felt the last 5 or 10 minutes he is trying his absolute guts out, and it feels like he's not getting much reward for effort. Not frustration as such, but a bit of a one-man effort at the moment.
Josh Lye from right half back for Port. Down the line for Whitlock. Rove by Watkins. Looks for the handball. It's knocked down towards Zaddo, who tries to get through Ash. He does. Handball towards Moraes. Soccers it forward. It's going to be a lasso free kick going the way of the Giants.
See what Zaddo backs himself, doesn't he?
Oh, he does.
Pins ears back and tries to bust through.
Just going to check this one. Boundary umpires said it's clearly a soccer, and the field umpires potentially trying to overrule here. And I feel like the boundary umpire's saying, mate, just listen to me, please. My job.
Oh. It's off GWS, I think, Tom.
See, I felt like that was first off the Giants and then Murray's boot came through, but they know better than me. They're right there, and the short kick there for Murray's ends up with a mark inside 50 for Georgiades, who'll take a kick of 50 from right half forward.
When you look at the context of this game, Tom, it's 29 points the margin. This is a huge kick. Not outside his range. He's normally, in terms of distance, been able to go the journey, but this is a huge kick for Port Adelaide to be able to hang in there on the scoreboard.
Can kick the harder ones at times. He's had 2 from the goal square tonight. Hasn't been able to make much impact out of that, but this would be huge for momentum. Lovely drop pump, but it started left the whole time. And a big, strong grab at the goal square. And then snapped through by Barrett. Looked like it was a mark, went to ground. And the mid-season draftee, he's fallen over in his celebration, but he breaks a run of 6 goals for the Giants. Gets the Powers first of the third. They're 7-4-46 Giants. 10-9-69, 21 and a half gone third term.
They needed that one. Looked like it was almost a grab in the goal square, wasn't it? Was it Sweet who was deep? Looked like he had the grab, but played on. They'll be pretty flat without the Giants' defence. We talked about how good they'd been in the contest and been able to kill that one deep. It's the one thing you hate as a defender is when you can't clear that contest and rush it through for a point. That's also one of the coach killers, isn't it? When you're a metre out from the goal square and you spill it down and let one of your small forwards kick a goal. But Power still in this one.
Just going back to Bam, as you said, the mid-season draftee, I think he's been a really good addition for Port Adelaide. He's clearly come from a lower competition, but he looks like he can definitely play at this level. You get a pre-season into him, get him in the gym, he could be anything.
Giants by 23, blocking free kick in the ruck contest, going Jordan Sweet's way. Port will get another exit. It's a bit unsure where to go. It has to call to play on, so he sidesteps Madden. What about the agility? 2:04 and all. Sweet inside 50. Laverde should have taken the intercept mark, knocked it down to Taylor, and they won't pay that. So it's going to be a ball up as he's tackled, 20 out. Quickly tossed into the air. Sweet down, reeled it in, and then quick kick wide right as he was tackled by his opposing ruckman. So it is the Giants by 22. Here, late stages of the third.
He's actually been dominating Sweet with it. 39-17 hit-outs, but they're just not capitalising off the work he's doing at clearance.
Whitfield asked to play on. Short to Lockie Ash. Right back pocket. Port set up well here. So Ash decides to play on. Takes a couple of bounces out of defence. Lowers the eyes for Laverde. Drew puts some pressure on. That will give away a free kick, or the mark was paid, either or. Quickly handballs off to Ash, who ran around the ring. He's tackled by Zato as his long kick goes up the line. Jumping underneath it was Lockie Jones. At the back was Lorenz, clean enough towards Alir, who gathered on the half volley. Back to Lorenz, get onto that left foot, young fella. He does. Kicks long up the line. Taylor's in front. Whitlock got a hand in there. Roved by Whitfield. O'Halloran on the boundary line. Up towards Madden, who got it with the half volley. To Oliver. Over the top to Bedford. Downfield free kick. Bedford kicks towards centre half forward with the advantage, but turns it over. Burne-Jones back to O'Brien. He couldn't be quite clean enough. Berry wasn't either. Bedford over the top. There's a whistle. Going to be holding on.
So that was a post-possession shirt front from Sweet on Oliver, right in front of Braden. Was it high at all, Braden? Is there something that the MRO might look at?
First viewing, Aaron, not that I saw it first viewing. There was a little bit of back and forth. The Giants players didn't appreciate it. They went to Sweet for a couple of seconds and then moved on, and Oliver's back at his feet.
Port through Bergman, moves it to Sweet, bangs it up towards a contest. A couple of flies and a hard landing for Mitch Zato. Hits the deck, Rouston tackled, holding the ball. Free kick to Willem Drew.
Heaps of pride there.
I'll hand it to Whitlock instead. Take your pick out of the Port players. Jack Whitlock, too far out to score. Try and set it up, 30 from home. The Giants get in front. Georgiades with 3 to beat, does enough to try and swat it forward, but Horn Francis in the wrong spot. Iden can cut it off, gets it to Angwin. Clears to right half back. Cadman flies from behind, brings it down, gets it back from Hamilton. Hospital handball to Cornelio, and he's snapped as a result. Big tackle that brings him to ground. Ball up to come in front of the Rashudo stand. The Giants by 22.
That was Zato again. God, he has a crack, doesn't he?
He loves it.
He does. He loves the physicality of the game. He's got speed and quite a nice frame for a little bloke.
Left half forward for the Power for the ball up, and it's punched out over the line. We'll have another throw in. So the Giants by 22 points. 4 goals in this term. Thought with just the one, but it was the last through Bammett.
Just feel like they need to snag one here, Port Adelaide, if there's any chance.
From the ruck contest, Madden knocked it down, but straight to Burn-Jones. Quick kick up towards Georgiades. Taylor, he's good. He just worked his way to the front. Love to see that as a defender, Joel.
It's good to see, isn't it? It's that last kick inside 50 that Power is struggling with, isn't it? It's half Giants good defending, but the kick just hasn't quite been there tonight.
It's another one we talk about the litany of injuries the Giants have had and what might have hurt their season.
Yeah.
Taylor missed the first 11 games with a hamstring, and this guy's an All-Australian defender. Tossed in, Madden taps it down looking for Bedford. Whitfield pounces and flung it out. Clearance goes the Giants' way out of defensive 50. O'Halloran pounds it towards the logo. Cadman got a hand in, knocked back. Alia's there, dangerous kick, had to be held, and Lockie Jones strong. Had Stringer cutting across, kicks a little too heavy though, clears the leading target, out the back door, Whitfield. Nola Campbell wide to Angwin, it bounced off his chest, even he wasn't expecting it. Regathers, uses Laverty, dancing and dodging between two. Retreats, giving up some ground, but works well as Fonte heads down the line. The Giants now surging. Bedford gets it to Angwin into the 50, just through the midst of Gruszewski, who was escorted under it by O'Brien. And it rolls over the boundary line. 20 out, left forward pocket for GWS. They're up by 22. Kicks the first 4 of the quarter, 6 in a row. Port have the last major and has brought it down to that 22-point margin.
Boundary throw in. Madden up against Sweet. Sweet knocks it straight down to Drew, the stand-in skipper in game 150. Oh, his kick wasn't great. Laverde dropped the sitter on his chest. Would have been a definite intercept mark. Durden goes in, picks up the footy, gets a handball away towards Marshall. There's a few Giants there, so Marshall soccers it forward. Ash is leading in the race in front of Horn Francis. His handball towards Taylor was hot, but he fumbled it out over the boundary line, so we will have a throw in just forward of the Power bench. They trail by 22 points.
Willem Drew out of Koroit, which is 270 k's southwest of Melbourne. A couple of famous names out of there. So Adrian Gleeson was a Premiership Blue. Finn O'Sullivan's from there, North Melbourne player. Taylor Byrne as well. Tossed in, Sweet down, straight to Burgoyne out of the stoppage, pulls the kick up to the arc. Georgiades takes it too far out to score. Got in front of Taylor. Stands back on his mark. The Giants flood the area. Mitch Georgiades, 2-1 for the night. Heads central. Crowd a little restless as a result. He hits Burn-Jones. Wide right in the spine. He heads towards Marshall. Copped a stray arm from behind. It was a bullet pass. Laser into the lead. Todd Marshall's looking good back up front again, as he'll get the free kick set shot to come 45 out.
Well, it was another one of those entries, wasn't it, from Port Adelaide, resisting the temptation just to bomb the ball long. You had Marshall leading up. No one was in the leading lane defending the lead-up mark there from Todd Marshall, and needs to go back. And we spoke about this a few minutes ago. 50-odd seconds left in this third quarter to keep the scoreboard manageable. He must finish this goal.
For all the Giants' dominance, it could be 16 points heading into the final change. Todd Marshall. Slow approach, then winds up. Heaves it hard and strong. 2 for the night. 16 points is the Giants' lead as we close in on three-quarter time. 10-9-69 plays 8-5-53. There's a sniff at the 29-minute mark. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Josh Franco and Joel Patfull.
Well, there's definitely a sniff. I mean, you see how quickly momentum changes in AFL footy these days. Even this game, there's been 4 goals, 6 goals, 4 goals. So teams can score very, very quickly. And once again, Paul, we talked about that. They're hesitant to kick long. And whether they're going to change that in the last quarter, we're not sure. But they're getting some results out of that. But at some point, they need to pull the trigger and get that ball going quickly and get it deeper inside their forward 50, I think. But 16 points, anything can happen.
Keeps raising the question, where's Todd Marshall best suited? Is it forward? Is it back?
I think it has
to
really
forward. Yeah, I think it does as well.
Back in the middle of the ground, and Madden just takes it out of the ruck, pumps it inside the forward 50. Cadman coming out. Couldn't complete the mark. Delana gets the handball towards Stringer. Goes the 1-2. They're lining up. Bedford handballs it off for Thomas from 30 metres out. Pulled it to the right, to the left. Missed opportunity there late in this third quarter. 10-10-70. Port 8-5-53. We haven't had a trading goals situation all night. It's been a run of goals everywhere. Aaliyah brings it out of defence for Port.
Kicks to a pack. You can throw a blanket over them. It's almost 8v8. Shoots towards the square. Well gathered by Moraes. He rolls a kick forward, but time will beat Port Adelaide. We've got a live game heading into the final change. The Giants looking to snap their two-game losing streak. They're up by 17. 10-10-70. Port at 8-5-53. Over at Docklands, it's the Blues by 17 over the Lions midway through the second term. So you can hear that on ABC Listen through the AFL button. Live ladder with the Blues up over the reigning premiers has them in the 10 after St Kilda lost earlier today. And the Giants are behind the Saints on percentage and would be a win behind the Blues if Carlton get the job done. So for all their hard work, GWS, they'll still be a victory away from closing the gap towards the wildcard tonight if Carlton can hang on. We'll get you to the second half of that after this game. But plenty to play out here at the Adelaide Oval. The Giants by 17 at the final turn on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Every community has stories worth sharing. ABC Your Say is your chance to join the conversation. Tell us what's on your mind. Visit abc.net.au/yoursay.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Thomas trying to putt the seas at 3 to beat. Ricocheted off some shins, it'll work. Madden to Delana, and now Canelio pulls the trigger from 50 and skids one home for his third. Then gathers the footy, and here comes the counter-punch. Slingshot footy for the Giants. Briggs gets it to Krzyzewski, and Stringer caught behind. Lockie Jones dumps him, gathers the footy, and rolls through his third.
Thomas is first on scene for the Giants. He leaves it for Whitfield. He is a wonderful kick of the footy. And what a wonderful finish it is from Whitfield. That's 5 on the trot for the Giants.
Todd Marshall, slow approach, then winds up. Heaves it hard and strong. 2 for the night. 16 points is the Giants' lead as we close in on three-quarter time.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
A late point made at 17, but it's well within reach for Port Adelaide. It's been a run of goals throughout the night, both sides trading barbs, but the Giants currently have the lead. Will they hang on to it and keep their wildcard hopes alive? We're about to find out. 10-10-70 plays 8-5-53. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you alongside Joel Patfull and Josh Franco. On the text line tonight, 0437 774 774. KD says the power looking flatter than the tyres on the Red Rocket. Said Josh Franco would like that. And also Dan says it is the Benny Hill Cup with the Benny Hill umpires tonight, so not overly impressed with what he has seen out there. Joel, Josh, who's winning this one with a quarter to go?
Well, if we know anything, we know the Giants are going to give them a look. Whether Port can capitalise on that, we're not sure, but they're going to give them some chances through this quarter, and they just got to get in their face. They've got to turn the footy over through the middle of the ground, get the ball going back the other way. I think they've got to at some point pull the trigger and kick it long. They've been so hesitant and so slow moving the ball inside 50 that almost conceding that the Giants' defence are too good one-on-one. So they've got to put it on Mitch Georgiadis, Marshall, create a contest up forward, give your Smalls a chance and convert from there. So, I mean, from the Giants, more of the same. They're going to take the game on. They're going to overlap run and try and take it through the middle, but they still need to kick, 3 or 4 goals this quarter to get them over the line. I still think it's probably Stringer. He's the one that stood up and will kick 1 or 2 in this last quarter if they're to win. Cadman's been good, providing a contest up there as well, so still plenty to play out.
I reckon full credit to Port Adelaide. The margin on the scoreboard started to look pretty threatening in favour of GWS. They looked like breaking the game right open, but to Port Adelaide's credit, they're able to wrestle it back, kick a couple of late goals. The margin's only 17 points, so it's game on, but obviously it's a big first 5 minutes of this final quarter. Port Adelaide, like you said, if they can capitalise on their entries and put a bit of scoreboard pressure on the Giants, who knows what can happen. But the Giants, if they get their game going and obviously we've seen and know what they're capable of, if they can do that, they'll look threatening ahead of the ball.
Well, the one thing as well, we talked about the momentum and the crowd that gets involved here in Adelaide Oval. Like it's such a unique environment. It's something that the Giants players obviously don't experience every week. So, 1 or 2 goals here early, the Port gets the crowd involved and the Giants are automatically under pressure.
This was the scenario last week where Port had been so competitive against the Brisbane Lions, and then the damn wall burst in the final term, 7-2. So see if they can keep that fight for 4 quarters. And then we've got a game on our hands, and Port Adelaide can, once again push a team that's trying to play finals football. Jason Horne-Francis leading the way again, so he's 20 touches and a goal. Lockie Whitfield has 23 in a major for the Giants. Xavier O'Halloran looking good on the ball with 20 as well. We might have mentioned off there in terms of the young stars getting a crack on ball, Joel, for the Giants, given all the outs that they have, including Tom Green and Toby Green. One of those throughout the night has been Jack Ow, who was touted when Tom Green went down at the start of the year by some of the Giants' assistants as a ready-made replacement. Didn't end up playing until basically the last month. Has been in the midfield and has had 1 touch from his 5. I think he was in there last week and had 10. It hasn't quite been the reward for the opportunity that's been handed to him.
No, he's one of those guys that's been dominating at VFL level, but comes into the AFL and just hasn't quite hit his groove. He spent time through the middle of the ground. He has spent a bit of time up forward today as well, so it hasn't all been midfield minutes, but definitely need more out of him. 1 touch still, 3/4 time is not the output you need from one of your midfielders.
That's Jack Ow, who's one of their young stars coming through. Xavier O'Halloran looks like he's really relishing the opportunity, though. He has 20 on the night. Toby Bedford playing that run with role with Jason Horne-Francis. Jace Burgoyne's been alongside Clayton Oliver. So we're seeing some fresh faces. Harry Ralston's been getting a go. He can be a tackling machine at his best with the 15 touches. So a lot of future stars out there, but the Giants are still trying to live in the present. Win tonight. They're within arm's reach of top 10. If Carlton do drop a game to the Lions tonight, then basically it'll be level in terms of wins. It's just percentage. That being said, the Blues have just gone on an absolute tear in the last couple of minutes. They've kicked 4 unanswered now in the space of 10 minutes, and suddenly they're up by 30 over the Brisbane Lions. Crows fans will be relishing around the country. Giants by 17. Here we go, final term. Briggs down looking for Oliver, set upon by Wines. They fall forward and a ball up to come outside the centre circle.
Game on the line, Horne-Francis, Drew and Wines, the usual suspects for Port Adelaide starting in the CB.
Tossed up. Briggs takes it out of the ruck and jams the kick forward. Wormburner that tumbles through Stringer. Perry tries to gather. He's alongside Angwin, slaps it forward. Lorenz gets it out towards Burn-Jones. Did cop a stray arm in the process, and they'll bring it back. Free kick, Port Adelaide at left half back. So Will Lorenz, contract year for the young star, just his 2nd game of the year. 10th overall. It's back through D50. Has he shown enough, Josh Franco?
Yes, tonight. I think he's actually been okay tonight, but in the course of the season,
only 2 games.
Yeah,
it's
not
hard,
enough,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Switches through Ram to Horne-Francis and now Port on the eastern side.
So Zatto's at right half back. Port trailing by 17 points. Just working it slowly, as they have all night. Aaliyah to Burn-Jones. Defensive side of centre wing.
The only concern is for Lorenz, if you're not playing a lot of footy with a side that's had a lot of injuries, that's a bit of a worry.
Burn-Jones up towards Horne-Francis, but he was just muscled out of that in the contest. There by Cornelio. The old head takes the chest mark. Goes short towards Thomas. True centre wing from Max Bashir stand. Port set up well. So Thomas will play on. Kicks a high ball towards centre half forward. In front is Brown, in front of Lai. Coming through is Lockie Jones. Handballs out towards Wines. Clean to Horne-Francis, who tried to ride the tackle of Whitfield. Just got it away in time. Wines with a dangerous handball backwards into the D50. Sweet did well for a big man. Across to Aaliyah, who hits the target of Berry at left half back.
A very quiet game against the Lions with just the 4 touches, but playing the defensive half tonight has looked great. Joe Berry heads wide. Lorenz turns on a dime, heads up towards the broadcast wing. Couple of flyers hit the back of the head of Laverty, who tried to throw a fist in and lost the drop. What a shoot handball out there. Blazing by for Port Adelaide. It's well hit to Berry, who can loop it over the top to Whitlock. Tried to pull the kick across the body to Georgiades, nowhere near him. But Taylor loses his feet, didn't have the studs in. Whitfield to Angwin, the Giants mop it up. Ash can tumble a kick out of there as it rolls back towards the broadcast wing. Lorenz got a handball off to Bergman. He thumps it to the left forward pocket. And Zatto knocked away from it by Delana, and it will clear both over the boundary line.
What about the work of Drew then? That was Harlem
bang.
Globetrotter stuff, wasn't it?
It was genius.
Yeah, it was.
Just couldn't complete the handball on the outside. I think Berry missed one, but he's tap over the back. Clever stuff. Boundary throw in. Sweet knocks it down. Too much on it for Horn Francis. Drew lays a tackle. Bedford runs through. Diving in there was Zato. So we know he likes to do best. Bergman lays a tackle there on Iden. We'll have another ball up. About 35 from home for the Power. Looking to strike first in this last term. Oliver gathers though for the Giants. All the way back to Laverde. Dangerous kick out. Probably not the required journey. Rode by Durden. Gets it back to Berry. Sort of just blazes away into the pocket. Does stay in. Whitlock. He got first hands to it, but he juggled it out over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in. 40 from the Powers home. Left forward pocket.
Got some hops on him. The jumping jack.
Started this last quarter well. Port Adelaide, 3 inside 50s.
Just needs some reward. It's the Giants still by 17. Tossed in, bounced off Briggs. Georgiades couldn't quite get clear of a flurry of bodies. Angwin knocks it back. And the tackle is Whitfield. We'll get a ball up. Todd Marshall, the man to bring him to ground.
23 to 9 disposals.
20 out. Briggs gets a fist in, but knocked it straight to Horn Francis. Zigging and zagging, trying to flirt with the boundary line. And that tightrope runs out on him. Kick too long over Bergman. Out on the full. Free kick to the Giants' right back pocket. Connor Iden to bring it in. He's going to hand it off instead. So Harry Himmelberg. Tucked up right against the fence. Crowd's thinned a little bit across the night up in the upper stands. Maybe they found some seats down below. Himmelberg heads to the right half back. Cleared the pack. Port had the numbers. Lorenz back 45 to Burn Jones on the logo, and a short pass forward to Lai.
So 26 touches to 10 to start this quarter, Port. Lai with a flat ball inside, and Horn Francis was left unattended and he dropped a mark. Probably should have taken. His opponent went to ground. We'll have a ball up 40 from home. Umpire wastes no time. Sweet looking for Horn Francis again. Oliver barges through. Couldn't possess the ball, so it falls in the lap of Sweet. Going in again was Oliver. Briggs. Bergman handballed out wide. Looking for Wines. Goes the 1-2. Looking for the fend off. Quick kick around the body. Running at it was Marshall. Overrunning it was Marshall. Quick kick out of defence from Briggs. Into space up towards Cadman. Can he be clean? Oh, ho, ho! Jeez, Horn Francis nearly sent him into orbit. He would have been dead if that was 1980. Goodness me, Berry kicks inside the forward. 50 flying was Georgiades. That would have been a hanger Jezelenko style from the 70s. And a high tackle against Whitlock. It's all happening at Adelaide Oval.
It's all happening, but not happening in a sense. The Giants head to left half back. Whitfield has the footy near the Wanganeen stand. They're up by 17 points. No score in this final term through 6 minutes. Whitfield, short pass, 45 inboard to Oliver. Down the line he goes to Ash. Here's all the superstars. Connor Iden turns through centre wing, calls for a lead, orchestrating the entry, heads to Stringer, juggles and couldn't quite get it on the third bite. Lai clears right under the footy. Bammett floats in front, but Iden only got the mark. Thought he had enough of that as he fell forward. Umpire didn't quite agree, so ball up to come just wide of the Bashir stand.
Horn Francis would be thankful that he didn't make any contact there.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
Giants by 17. Sweet down. Delana and Wines coming opposite ways. Neither could win the footy, but Horn Francis can. Cross the body, hit and hope. Heads to the northern end. Whitlock had one arm pinned on the drop. Still managed to get the footy against Laverde. Kicks it forward. Marshall the same. And he did enough to tap it to Zato, who's surging by. It's a rush of blood as he went for home and nowhere near the big sticks. Out on the full as he kicks it to the scoreboard.
They're dominating play, aren't they, here, Port? They're just inside 50 after inside 50, but really need to capitalise. They're the ones you need. Kick a goal early, get the crowd up and about.
Well, 7-1 this quarter, Tom, inside 50s.
Ash deep in defence, under a lot of pressure, and kicked it towards Bammett, who was held in the contest. So it's coming back in, Josh. He's 6-1 in a moment. Bammett on the left, 60 from home. Lowers the eyes, looking for a target. Oh, Durden dropped the chest mark. Tried to pick up the footy with 3 Giants around him. There's a couple couple of drop marks inside that forward 50 for Port this quarter.
Yeah, missed opportunity. That one there, that's just a basic chest mark, wasn't it?
Hasn't hit the scoreboard tonight, Durden.
It's a goal gone begging.
It's done it in every game bar one. Ball up again. Running through was Georgiades, but he just dropped the footy. Rouston with the quick kick out. Berry gets a fist in there. Rove by Stringer, thrown to the ground. Oliver was quick to Cornelio. Steps inside the tackle from Wines. Got it to Angwin. Handballed it straight to Lorenz. Can they capitalise this time? Hits the chest of Horn Francis. Right on the paint where the 50 would normally be painted.
Well, that's the price you pay when you overuse it by hand and the pressure's too good. And tell you what, that just spoke about Lorenz, and he's out of contract. He's a very neat little player, isn't he? He looks very composed with ball in hand, kicks the ball well, but big kick this here from Horn Francis. He's been super all night.
So 5 touches this quarter for Lorenz, going at 100, Josh. So
yeah. Yep.
Well spotted. So Horn Francis, we know he's a booming kick. It'll take a kick of 55. Port trailing by 17 points, trying to get the first of the last. And when he goes for that journey, he's kicked a shocker, a helicopter punt. It was touched, says the umpire, so they get a forward 50 stoppage, which isn't the worst result.
Gee, hammered it into the man on the mark. So you're right, the deflection just had it spiralling. Port get a second opportunity. Tossed in. Sweet up against Madden. Both rucks get a hand to it. Lands fortuitously to Harvey Thomas. Exits out to the broadcast side. Kick had a bit of curl to it, and Lai couldn't read it. Bounces out towards centre wing. Slapping it forward is Stringer. On the march, Aaron Cadman with a clean take. Sweeping handball forward. Sidestepping to Grashevsky. Gets it back to Cadman. This is slick. Here's the package. On cue arrives as he centres his kick to the goal square. Caught behind was Fonte, and a big fist through. Knocked by Zato, and they get around him as well for the rush behind. Giants by a flat 3 goals now, 10 played final term.
Yeah, Delana there, didn't he? Did you see that? Joey just in the pocket, decided not to kick it to him, took the harder option and paid the price there. Jake Stringer.
Going for the guaranteed goal if he got it through. Long kick out of defence from Port. Rams in there. So too is Rouston. That's gone straight up in the air, that kick. Visentini knocks it down, lands in the lap of Drew. Quick kick forward to Horn Francis, who's clean. Tries to step inside, doing plenty, and O'Halloran's all over him. Handballs towards Marshall, who dived on top of it, but there's 2 Giants there holding it in, so we'll have a ball up in the centre square. That was actually the first score of this final term, that rush behind. Giants leading by 18 points. Handball from Oliver to Hamilton. His quick kick inside the forward 50 works to Stringer, who marks in front of Balin O'Brien. Right half forward, 50 out.
The third gamer, O'Brien, I think, just fighting out of his weight division, wasn't he then? The quick kick forward and Stringer was good.
Well, huge amount of space as well, wasn't there? Both teams had put forwards into the stoppage, so forward line had plenty of space to work with. Stringer just reacted quicker and pretty dangerous inside 50 for a third gamer to be matched up on him.
An important kick. Could make it a very difficult margin. One of the longest kicks in the comp. Going for number 4 is Jake Stringer. A big drop punt, but away to the right. Minus score. Could be a handy point there. 10-12-72. Port at 8-5-53. Almost 12 gone in this final term for ABC Sport.
Inside 50s this quarter, the final term, 9-3 Port Adelaide's way, so they're +6.
So Josh Franco, Joel Patfull, your experts tonight. Lockie Jones heads straight up the spine. Heads towards Whitlock. Tried the hanger on Madden. Did enough to knock it front and square. Drew, screw punt. Bounces straight to Georgiades. Hot handball. Murray's fumbled. Georgiades says, I'll do it myself. Gathers and releases Bergman. Into the 50. Trying to wait it back with the flight to Babbitt. Fist comes in from Thomas. Picked up by Laverty. Hands it off towards Ash, and the Giants recover. Through the defensive goal square. Fonte back to Ash. Kicks up to right half back. Trying to get it out towards Hamilton. Body used, but out the back door it rolls over the boundary line. No one touched it, so it will be last disposal. Free kick to Jason Horn-Francis. Disposal 26. Inboard he goes. Will Lorenz. Hard and hopeful into the 50. Burgoyne the target. Spoil came straight to Georgiades. Snaps across the body. He needs the pitch, and he gets the bounce. 3 for Mitch Georgiades. Margins 13 points. 12 played, final term. 10-12-72 the Giants, Port 9-5-59. Joel Patfull, Josh Franco with you for Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Well, it seemed like a matter of time, didn't it? They'd had so many inside 50s where they just couldn't quite capitalise, but Horn Francis just centred that ball, changed the direction and got the Giants defence off centre. But it's between him and Georgiadis, really, don't they? They look like the dangerous ones that are really going to influence this game and whether they can get involved and convert the score. But definitely a much-needed goal and beautiful finish from outside 50.
Well, there had to come a point in this quarter, didn't it? It's 11-3 inside 50s where Port Adelaide had to kick a major, and they did. This is the margin now 13 points, definitely within striking distance, but big centre bounce clearance coming up here.
Port have kicked the last three. Visentini in the ruck. Burgoyne lays a strong tackle on O'Halloran, and the umpire will ball it up again. Visentini against Madden. Knocks it down. There's a free kick paid out of the area, going the way of Burgoyne. So clearance coming the way of Port. It's going to go straight down the middle up towards centre half forward. Trying to get into the contest there was Visentini, but he was behind Madden, who did well. Takes the intercept mark for the Giants.
Madden, who got a 4-year deal a couple of weeks ago, probably means Briggs might be out the door. The young ruckman heads to left half back. Well, they could head to the Tigers. Big Kieran. Fonte, I should say. I was going to say the full Fontepelli there. Gets it up towards Whitfield down the line. A little wide in the end, trying to get it to Brown. Right alongside him was O'Brien. Kept it in. Burgoyne across the body. Straight into the sky. Comes down in the lap of Visentini. Dante's starting to find some rhythm as well. He's touted as the number one ruck at the start of the year. Omitted after a game, but last few he's looked good. Down the line he goes. Fist from Laverty straight to Taylor. The Giants now full tsunami. Brown shoots the handball off. Bedford forward. And now Jacko. Left half forward. Waits for the run of Bedford. Gets it back. Canelio turns 25 out. Handball chain. Gets all the way to Cadman. And he goes for one too many. Tries to get it to Briggs, who had to thump it down with a double fist. And they've had an egregious error. Hamilton's tackled and brought to ground top of the goal square. It was so slick end to end. But they just bit off more than they could chew with the one extra handball.
That's why coaches pull their hair out.
Visentini in the ruck contest knocks it down. It's at the top of the goal square, a dribbling kick, and Ilya knocks it through for a minor score. 10-13-73, Port 9-5-59. Halfway through this final term, that is overusing. That's like playing FIFA and trying to make the perfect goal and rolling it in, isn't it?
It was almost too easy, wasn't it?
Burn Jones. Booming kick out towards the broadcast wing. Body work by Taylor as he edges out Mitch Georgiadis. Sam Taylor sends it back where it came from. It'll drop 20 from home. Josh Lai flies, trying to knock it down. Pouncing onto it. Riley Hamilton goes for the snap. Too much on the curl. And then, fair bit of off spin there as it heads through on the left-hand side. It will be the Giants by 15 points. 16 played, final term. Half-time at Docklands. It's the Blues by 18 over the Lions. We'll get you there after this game. We're going to get some reaction in the rooms first, and then we'll take you to the conclusion of that contest between some absolute heavy hitters.
Burn Jones brings it out, and Cadman was the only one who wanted it. Marks on the corner of the centre square, right-hand side. 21-goal first half over there, Carlton versus Brisbane. Goes short to O, 55 from home. Durden just asked the umpire where I can stand on the mark. Doesn't want to give away a 50. That is smart. So O goes so high towards the top of the goal square. Flying was Brown. Hamilton trying to rove. Laying a tackle there on Lockie Jones in the right forward pocket. We'll have a ball up. GWS up by 15 points. 17 gone final term.
Tossed in the air. Madden down. Canelio keeps it in. Millimetres in it. Shoots the handball to the top of the goal square and over the head. Cadman tried something special. Missed to the right. That would have been amazing with Canelio's effort to dance on the boundary line and then set up that shot at goal. It's the Giants by 16, quickly playing on from the defensive goal square. Burn Jones running out of room, and what a kick. That is centimetre perfect as he hits Horn Francis' defensive edge, and Burn Jones keeps running. Gets the footy, Nudged off it by Brown, but manages to hit Wines on the 45 in the centre square.
Running past is Horn Francis. Running through up towards inside 50. Trying to rove it was Moraes. Bergman did it first. Gets it back towards Moraes, who's wrapped up in a tackle by Laverde. We'll have a ball up 35 from home.
Sam Taylor's been unbelievable in this last quarter. Some of those one-on-one efforts, just getting a hand in, bringing the ball to ground.
Star of the competition. Burgoyne gets it back to Burne-Jones outside the 50 now. It's going back in towards the pocket, and it's Ollie Wines who's floated forward and taken a mark along the boundary line near the scoreboard.
Well, Burne-Jones' last 3 kicks have been unbelievable, haven't they? Yep. Out of half back, through the middle of the ground on that occasion. Just spotted Ollie Wines. Sort of spat out from that stoppage.
Big kick.
Massive.
224 metres gained this quarter for Burne-Jones. In comes Ollie Wines with 6 minutes to go. He's on the paint of the boundary, just across the face of goal, minus score. So Port go to 9-6-60. GWS 10-15-75. 19 gone in the final quarter. Braden Ingram on the boundary.
Yeah, Harry Ram, the power defender, has got a bit of an ankle concern by look, struggling to put weight through it. He's been on the bike the past few minutes.
They'll be down some tall timber as a result. The Giants in defensive 50 right now. Jack Howe back towards the broadcast side. Vicentini with the fist in up against Madden. Awkward bounce for Burgoyne, becomes the tackle on Cornelio. Did he gather the footy though? Tries to draw the free kick. Drew, shooter handballed out. O'Halloran was waiting. Tried to knock it towards Howe. He can't control it. O'Halloran goes again. The ball just keeps rolling towards Port's 50, and the Giants starting to panic a bit. Laverde just jams a kick out of there, blasting it on the bounce towards Lorenz. He couldn't trap it. Madden knocks it towards Hamilton. The Giants just trying to move the ball forward. It's not effective, but it's gaining ground. Fist comes in on Cadman, bounces back towards Drew. Excellent handball in traffic. Got it to Wines. Now Lorenz towards the 50. Marshall couldn't take it. Out the back door. Durden tumbles a snap. It doesn't have enough turn. Minus score on the right-hand side, all the way out from 45. And it is the Giants by 13 points, approaching time on in the final term.
Ball just didn't bite for him, did it?
It looked good.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to shape that way, but just didn't get the turn that he wanted, as you said.
First day pitch out there at the moment. Would have on day 5. So
I feel like Port Adelaide are running out of time.
Yeah. Feels like a bit of a shorter quarter too.
Yeah.
Only 5 minutes left and we've just entered time on. The kick out of defence from Fonte. Vicentini got the fist down towards Berry, to Jones, to Lorenz, who did the 360 nicely, up towards Vicentini, who got hands to it. Rove there by O for the Giants at right half back. Tries to get around Vicentini. Dangerous handball towards Whitfield, who's wrapped up by Marshall and Burgoyne at left half forward for the Power. Ball up.
Port Adelaide 15 inside 50s to 6 for just the 1 goal too. So just need to hit the scoreboard.
Iden gathered it as Horn Francis couldn't complete the possession. Over the top, now going inside the forward 50 is Hamilton. Up towards Grashevsky. Alir dropped the mark. Just is able to get away from Big Max. Kicks the centre half back towards Big Miles Bergman. He plays on quickly. Goes out wide to Bammett at right half back. He's in a lot of space out there. Not a lot of options on though. Got Moraes leading through the middle of the ground. Didn't want to take that kick on. So goes towards Bergman and Cornelio. Bergman marks on his chest. Forward of centre wing.
Not a lot ahead. Has to hold things up. The Giants zoning now. Miles Bergman. Clock ticking down. Heads towards the scoreboard. On the march was Sweet. He did enough to draw 2 so that Mitch Georgiades could take it at the back. Giants players just collapsed it like a domino.
Well, I think he collapsed and he got 2 hands shoved in his back.
Yeah. Mitch Georgiades. Just a casual little shove.
The last man standing, wasn't he? The whole pack went down and Georgiades was sitting there, but needs to kick this.
I missed the replay. Was it there?
Goal.
It was
there, yeah.
It looked live. Definitely live, but yeah, big kick here, Joel.
Mitch Georgiades. It's a coin toss on a set shot for him. Crosses the paint of 50. It's fading left and he's missed. Giants by a flat 2 goals with 3 minutes to play on ABC Sport.
Well, that's huge, isn't it? Yeah. That's the one you need. 4 minutes to go. 15 points down. You need your big forwards to stand up and slot those ones.
Lockie Whitfield, flat drop punt towards Hamilton, got 2 hands on it over the top of Wines, out over the boundary line.
But they're keeping the Giants in this front half. The Giants can't get it over the centre, so they need to convert. It does feel like if the Giants can get through, they could potentially get them on the counter. But at the moment, the Port defence is standing up.
So 13 points the margin. The Giants leading in the ruck contest. Briggs through, Sweet out the way. Play on, says the umpire. Horne-Francis did well to get it out to Wines. Kicks inside the forward 50, looking for a target. It bounces over the back. Laverde's under pressure. He's keen to get this to the boundary line. He did. Right next to the left behind post for a throw-in. So still within the Lee Matthews rule. 3 goals in 3 minutes.
If you're standing Horne-Francis, you're on high alert. That's this boundary throw-in.
Almost got 2 on him at the moment. Boundary throw-in. Sweet over the top towards Wines. Iden's pretty happy to sit on that, so is Oliver. Knocking it out of the contest. Oliver gathers, tries to get a quick kick away. Diving on it is Angwin. Lorenz in there and Zato as well. And we'll have a ball up. 25 from goal. 45-degree angle to the left.
Trying to put it to bed. Briggs looked to get some clearance. Georgiades toes it forward in a hit and hope. Trying to get a heartbeat. Murray's looking to knock it to Bammett. 3 to beat. Can't come out with the footy. Tunnel ball as it gets out. Oh. Smart toe there from Brown as he tried to keep it in and gain some ground. He's towed it over. They're going to pay it deliberate at the light tower. I think Callum Brown was trying to do that. Insufficient intent in the end. He just wanted to break away and didn't quite get the role he wanted.
He's still playing the Irish game. It was a kick off the band. He wanted to kick it up to himself.
Here we go. Xavier Bammett. Game number 8. Misses as he hooks across the body from 35 to the right. Giants by 12. 2 to go.
Have to be perfect for Port here. Giants without a goal in this final term. 6 minor scores. Ash plays on with a bounce. Gets some pressure from Durden. Kicks it out towards right half back. Laverde's done well. Had the mismatch in front of Berry. Takes a strong mark. Pressure reliever for the moment. Going to go long down the line. Centre wing there. Running at it is Cadman. Strong mark in front of Ram. Important possessions here for the Giants.
Just needs to take his time, milk some time off the clock. Go long down the line. Worst case scenario, get a boundary throw in.
Up towards Oliver. Drew trying to get it there. The 2 redheads. Oliver takes the mark.
Valuable seconds ticking off the clock too, Tom.
Yep, we've had 30 seconds gone since that kick in from Ash. Now inside the forward 50 for the Giants. Up towards Aaliyah. Got the fist down. Rove there towards Cadman. Goes the snap towards the top of the goal square. Brown tried to shepherd that through. Lockie Jones is there. Takes possession. Handballs over the top to Burn-Jones. Puts him under pressure. Handballs towards Wines, who goes down towards Bergman. Almost mowed down by Thomas. A clever knock on from Drew. And they're out here, Port.
Chip kick forward, no good. Slips catch diving forward. Sam Taylor cuts off the Bammett kick. They had the overlap and he just needed to go long.
They were on a different page, weren't they? Bammett looked short. Georgiades was looking long.
Taylor. High arc into the 50. Rising Grashevsky. Couldn't control it. Stringer's lurking. Trying to get to the footy. Shepherded out of it by Wines and becomes the tackler on Bergman. Ball up. We are 40 out. Giants goal. They're up by 12. Trying to stay within arm's reach of a wild card final, the Giants. Port looking to avoid another honourable loss. Quickly tossed up. Sweet. Tapped it down. Tackle laid. We go again. Giants 50, Riverbank stands. Sweet down. Shark, Delana hands it off to Cornelio. This will ice it. Harvey Thomas, left forward pocket, 25 out. Trying to arc away from Burgoyne. Couldn't find a teammate. Turns it over. Bammett again. Blasted out of dodge. Georgiades out to meet it. Bounces off 2. Footy shoots out. Wines can't control it and actually toes it over the line. Free kick GWS at the Williams stand. That might just do us here at the Adelaide Oval. Jack Howe heads to the left forward pocket for the Giants. Cadman flies, slipped through his hands, pulled out the numbers at the drop. GWS get a win on the road and keep their hopes of a giant surge to September alive. They win by 12 points over Port Adelaide.
From the west of the town, it's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
Arm wrestle affair early. Port by a point at the first change, the Giants by 2 at half-time. It felt like a mirroring game where we traded runs of 4 goals before the Giants finally surged ahead 6 either side of half-time. Meant that the Giants were up by 17 at three-quarter time in an ugly final term. Port won the inside 50 count by 7 but kicked 1-4 to show for it. The Giants with 5 behinds. It's enough. The wild card hopes are alive, and Port with another honourable loss as they fall short at home.
Well, there's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. Take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
So the Giants winners 10-15-75 to Port Adelaide to 9-9-63. 3 goals to Jake Stringer and Stephen Cornelio. Singles to Cadman, Whitfield, Angwin and Brown. For Port Adelaide, 3 to Georgiades, 2 to Marshall. And individuals to Bergman, Horn-Francis and Mitch Zato. The Power 6 and 14 and still in the bottom 4. The Giants will hope the Lions can complete a comeback at Docklands. Half-time there, the reigning premiers down 18. So Carlton currently in the 10. The Giants would be a game out of it. If Brisbane can recover, then it's just percentage that separates 10th and the Giants down in 12th with St Kilda in the gap as well. So we'll see how the rest of the night plays out. We'll get you to Docklands very shortly, but some reaction in the rooms first and the thoughts of our experts, Joel Patfull and Josh Franco, with you on ABC Sport.
Well, Joel, putting myself in the shoes of Adam Kingsley, I'm not sure how you rate that game from GWS. They weren't overly convincing at times. They looked threatening to break the game open, but couldn't. And that's to Port Adelaide's credit. They're able to hang in there and make the margin manageable and only in the end get the job done by 12 points. So from the Giants' point of view, from what I saw tonight, as I said, not all that convincing. From Port Adelaide's perspective and Josh Carr, and I know this sounds ludicrous me saying it, but an honourable loss, yeah. They stay in the bottom 4, they get the better draft pick. Job done, tick the box and see you next week.
Well, it probably sums up their season, doesn't it, really? I mean, it was all set up for a big finish and for the Power to come home and kick some goals, and they had every opportunity. They had 15 inside 50s and had some shots at goal, but it probably shows that their ability to execute under pressure and when they needed to just wasn't there. And even their senior players had a couple of shots. Georgiades had a shot that he just needed to kick to get that momentum going and keep him in the game. So, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, both sides at times played some really good footy, but at times played some really average footy as well. So not a heap of positives to come out for the Giants, but a win on the road nonetheless and keep them in that hunt for that wildcard spot.
How many have they got to come back in? Obviously, both Greens.
Both Greens. Jesse Hogan's another one that's out. So it's 13 first-choice players at the moment for the Giants. Callahan's out for the season. Yeah. Phoenix Gothard with the shoulder. Lee Kalia with the groin. Josh Kelly's not coming back with his hip. They had Buckley with the hammy. Brent Daniels with the calf, Riccardi with his ankle. So there's some big names there. And Port are the same, to be fair. I think they're missing, this is subjective, but I had them at 11 first-choice players out tonight. So both the sides are walking wounded. But the Giants can be better than that when they've got some of their elite talent. Yeah,
and I guess that's where I was going with it. If they get some of those players back and they can get into that top 10 and get that wild card, if it is that, then potentially they can get a bit of their mojo back and threaten. But they weren't overly convincing tonight. But having said that, you come over here. Port Adelaide are always difficult to beat here at Adelaide Oval. Yeah, you get the away crowd, but I guess from their point of view, job done, and Adam Kingsley will be pretty pleased with the result.
Yeah, they might get a couple of those guys. I think they'll probably only get one or two. A lot of those guys are long-term injuries that probably won't come back for finals as well. So they're going to have a think about just their structure and the way they want to go about their footy. I mean, we talked about their run and gun through the middle and the opportunities they give you on the backside of that. So there's a lot there, and Port kind of capitalised that, especially in that last quarter when the Giants just couldn't move the ball out of their back half as well. So a fair bit of work to do there, but there was some positive. Lockie Whitfield off half back was great. Went forward, kicked a goal. He was crucial for them, and my man Jake Stringer up forward, kicking a couple of goals as well. So he didn't get the 4 or 5, but he kicked 3. So I'm happy to claim that.
I thought Cornelio was good as well.
Yeah,
he kicked 3 goals, 1, and had his hand in a couple of others. But I thought his game was solid as well.
Generally thought middle of the season when he picked up another injury that I thought, gee, this guy's on his last legs at 32 and just wasn't getting enough touches, and has been revitalised in that forward role. He's so dangerous, not only setting up others but scoring himself. So yeah, they've got the names. It's just getting them all together again. Hopefully no one heads out the door. There were some rumblings during the week that were a bit more positive that, Jesse Hogan's got a 2-year deal on the table and Matt Skuszewski with a 4-year one. And obviously Green's got Geelong lurking, that maybe they can convince their skipper to do another year for them. And then, a couple of years' time we'll talk about Tassie with Tom Green. But the Giants, if they can get there in 10th and some of those names are back, then never say never. No,
there's still some talent to come through. Like, obviously, they'll get Toby Green back, and the word was probably halfway through the season, I think it looked more likely that he was going to leave. The whispers coming out now is that he might stay, so he might hang around and be a one-club player, which is obviously something that's really important for him. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
Let me put you on the spot then. So it wasn't their best brand of footy tonight for the Giants, but is this a team that deserves to play in a wild card?
I would say no. I don't know. Sort of shrugged my shoulders. I'm not really sure, but I guess from what I saw tonight, I'd probably say no. But what do you think, Joel? I don't know.
Well, I mean, 5 weeks ago I would have said yes. Obviously they'd beaten Freo, beaten Geelong, and they looked like they were pretty dangerous. And they're playing some good, exciting footy, and they look like they could, do a bit of damage if they got into September. But I mean, the last 3 weeks has been pretty average and a bit uninspiring, really. I mean, what you saw tonight was a bit of a reflection of the last 3 weeks, and when they're average. And I know they got the win tonight, but it wasn't a great stand of the footy. And I think in September they'll get exposed with a bit of that strategy and a bit of that ball movement coming out of the back half. So I think they'll find it pretty tough. But I mean, they are the kind of team that can get on a roll and they can score quickly. And if they get momentum going, they could snag 1 or 2. But I couldn't see them going too far.
Well, I know we're in a win-loss industry. Is there any heat on Adam Kingsley or not? No.
I think his record's been pretty good since he's taken over. They've probably not capitalised on their finishing position, in finals campaigns would be, the only knock. But they've been a point away from the grand final.
Reality is they've played finals 8 of the last 10, and this is probably their first bad season in a while, and they've had a lot of injuries in it. I've been surprised that a lot of the narrative through the week was that they're busted and Kingsley's in a bit of trouble, because you can't win them all sometimes, Joel, can you?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I don't think Kingsley's under pressure, but I mean the footy club in general has been under the pump a little bit probably the last month, haven't they? So where they're sitting in the scheme of things in AFL in general, and the national footprint. We talked about it before the game off air about where they sit and their relevance in the competition. So there's a bit of that going on, I think, behind closed doors. But I think the Kingsley one's probably more about game plan and structure and how that stands up in September with the way they've been playing this year. That run again, I said it a few times, but whether that game plan actually can relate in those big games and they can convert when they need to. So I think that's the pressure that I'm hearing from externally.
Giants making the most of their trip to Adelaide Oval, so getting around to celebrate with the fans who made the journey. That being said, they'll be back here in 3 weeks when they get the Crows. So racking up the frequent flyers as they head from Western Sydney all the way to Adelaide Oval. They've made their way down the race. Now the Giants winners by 12 points, and Braden Ingram's waiting for them in the rooms. Braden.
Yeah, making their way in dribs and traps, Aaron, slowly getting in here. And look, a handful of supporters here, which is good to see. Jaden Laverde's got a little bit of his limp, but mostly creating their own energy here, the Giants, and they are up and about, I'd have to say. Their season's still alive. As you say, they are back here in 3 weeks' time, maybe a precursor for what could get them into the finals. Oh, they've given that a pretty good belt out, I reckon. Understandable, as I said. Season's still alive, still ticking. And in a short amount of time, I'll be joined by the veteran, the man who kicked 3 goals tonight, Stephen Canelio.
Look to squeeze that in before we take you to Docklands for the conclusion to Carlton and Brisbane. So the Giants 9-11 on the season now after that victory, and are behind St Kilda by 5%, same amount of wins. And we'll see what happens with the Blues tonight. If they win, they'll be a game out of 10th. If they lose, they'll basically just be behind the Saints on percentage, and that's the only separating factor in terms of being in the wildcard final. They've got Gold Coast early next Sunday at home, followed by West Coast as well at home, and then they come back here to play Adelaide in what might be the deciding game. So, look, world's their oyster, Joel.
Well, this year they've lost the easy games, though, so
you
never know what's going to happen. So you'd hope that they'd win a couple of them, but at this point, no one's really sure. But, yeah, you'd think they'd win a couple of them and give themselves a chance.
To try and make sure we maximise our time before we depart, quickly on Port Adelaide, Josh Franco. So we mentioned it in the pre-game. The honourable losses lose their charm after a while, but tonight was another good performance. So you're flat, are you disappointed, or same old story, which is Port Adelaide have a lot of green shoots?
Look, yeah, I think it's definitely that, Aaron. And you obviously mentioned a lot that their KPIs, and I think 4 of the top 6 KPIs, and defensively that you've quoted previously, they really do stack up. So that's a real positive for me. The nature of the competition, and again, I'll say I can't believe I'm saying this, but the nature of the competition, that the lower you finish on the ladder, the more reward you get. So to come out and have a performance like tonight, I must admit, I walk away, I guess as an ex-Port Adelaide player, not too disheartened by it, understanding that there's definitely a lot to work with from a list perspective. There's a lot of green shoots there. They've exposed different players through the middle of the ground, which wouldn't have otherwise if Connor Rosie and Zach Butters were playing consistently. So that's been another plus as well. And they're not getting blown off the park, although they did last week against the reigning premier up in Brisbane, but they've actually been pretty competitive. And I was probably most buoyed a couple of weeks ago against Fremantle here. Walked into the ground expecting to get beaten by, the length of Port Road, but they were competitive. They hang in there as they were again tonight. So I think there's enough to work with moving forward for Port Adelaide supporters leaving tonight feeling positive about the future.
3, 2 and 1 in your votes?
I've given Whitfield 3. I thought he was terrific all night. Not sure if you agree with this, everyone, but I thought Horn Francis I was going to give 2. I thought he was quite dynamic and threatened as the game breaker. And 1 vote to the bloke we're about to interview, Canelio. Thought he was great as well.
That's a good shout. So 1 to Stephen Canelio, 2 to Jason Horn-Francis, and 3 to Lockie Whitfield. He's been revitalised up forward. It's been a nice run for Stephen Canelio. He's now got 6 goals in the last 2. He's downstairs with Braden Ingram. And
he's nodding along, Stephen Canelio. That's a great finish in the end for yourself and the team. Good vibe in there too to get a win after a couple of losses.
Yeah, look, we've been really disappointing the last couple of weeks, and so, sometimes as a group it's great just to get away, an away trip, and a place where we've had some mixed results over the last couple of years, but I was just super proud. I thought at times tonight we were challenged and we were able to respond in the right way, and we probably could have kicked a few more goals. So should Port as well, but I think it was just a really good performance against a side who's very hard to put away, and they're actually going to a bright future ahead of them.
Season's still alive too. Clearly the group still thinks they've got a bit to give in 2026.
Yeah, if there's a chance, we'll take it. And so really proud of the boys tonight. You find a lot about some guys and the group when you face these situations where you can easily probably just roll over a little bit and look ahead to next year, whatever. But we tried to stay as present and focused on just needing a little chance, and we did that tonight.
We talked about off air a second ago how chilly it was. You're used to playing in Canberra, but did that make it a little bit tough?
Oh yes, and as you said, it's definitely not colder than Sydney, that's for sure. But it was a little bit dewy out there. But I don't know. I'm obviously not an Adelaide boy, but I'd say this is the best deck in the AFL easily.
And for yourself, mate, a lot of talk about your future and your contract. To be performing the way you are at the back end of the season, I guess, must give you hope that you're still a chance to get another deal and finish here as a one-club player.
Yeah, I'm on the Joel Patfull training program at the moment. It seemed to serve me well. But no, look, to be honest, I felt great. Last year I had this neural thing in my hamstring that I just couldn't get rid of, and then got rid of it in November. And I actually feel really good, and still got plenty to give. That's for sure.
No better time to bring in Joel.
Cogsy, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. You?
Mate, good. Good to see you out there. Good game tonight, man. 3 goals. Looked clean, looked sharp. Mate, all I was going to ask you is 3/4 time away from home. You got a young team there. What are you saying to these young blokes to get them over the line?
Yeah, it's a really good point because, Port kept kind of becoming a little bit, but it was more just around keep playing our way. Don't go shy in these situations. The crowd started to get a little bit loud, and so the message was just keep playing our way, and we did that for majority of the night. As I said before, we could have taken a few more chances, but don't go shy and keep doing the things that got us in the game.
Good to hear, mate. The Joel Patfull program's looking good too. You're humming out there.
Thank you, mate.
Stephen, congratulations on your game and the win tonight. Just be interested to get your thoughts. You sort of touched on it briefly before, but the overall confidence level of the group, and I guess where I'm going with that is that you've got 3 more games left in the home and away season. There's a chance you sneak into that top 10. Is there a feeling that if you get in there, and I know you don't want to get ahead of yourself, that you can really challenge and upset a few of these top sort of 5 or 4 or 6 sides in the competition?
Yeah, we've always got that belief. It's just, I've been around footy for, AFL for 15 years now. I can't explain some of our form this year to be able to beat the top sides and then lose to the bottom sides. I just can't put my finger on exactly why it keeps happening. But one thing that this group has is that once August comes, we have a really real belief in the training that we've done, and King is obviously driving that really hard now. And as I said, we just need a little chance, and we'll keep pushing to try and make that top 10.
Cogs, it's Aaron Bryans here. Congratulations on the win. I wanted to ask you about the narrative during the week. I was a bit surprised that everyone suddenly is thinking that the Giants, list-wise, might be headed towards a cliff. You've had some really young stars come through in the last couple of games. How do you feel the build is at the moment? Is this, the foundation for success in the future as well?
Yeah, I definitely. If you look at some of our younger players and some of our guys that are, still mature age, I still firmly believe we've got a really, really good mix in there. And I know that this week there was a little bit of external noise around that, but I still feel like the experienced guys have got a little bit to give to help these younger guys come up to scratch. But look at. I don't want to harp on the injuries issue, but like Aaron Cadman, for instance, tonight, if he has, a different night, he probably kicks, 4 or 5 goals, but it's guys like Max Krzyzewski that's able to come in and play that role in Aaliyah tonight and just gets a little bit more experience. And so, in all this situation that we're in, there's guys that are playing footy this year that probably wouldn't have, and that's only going to be a benefit for next year and the year after that.
One of those who looks great is Harvey Thomas. He's really starting to relish that outside role, and some calls that he might even be an All-Australian wing contender. How are you finding his game?
Look, he's one of the hardest workers we've got, and puts a lot of time into his craft, and it's just great to see him reap the benefits of that. Had a great summer, but he's just a great kid, and works super hard on his game.
Just the last one of the contracts as well. It's always awkward when you've got your skipper who's in the headlines with Toby Green potentially being lured by Geelong. Have you had a chat to Toby about his future and how important it would be if he stayed to keep the Giants crew together?
Not really. I haven't really spoken to him too much about it. We obviously chat all the time and are super close, but it's it's one of those ones. I did chat to him a little while ago. I just said, mate, it's a different situation for him to what he probably has been ever in his career, and so I've been through it as well. It's difficult to kind of navigate. Not only the offers, but he's obviously got a young family now, and he's trying to probably weigh out the next phase and everything like that. But one thing's for sure is that he over this period, particularly over the last probably 6 weeks, has just been as invested as ever, and we love what he brings to the group. Obviously, I hope on a personal level that he stays, but in terms of he deserves to take his time and make sure he makes the best decision for himself.
And hopefully we get to see him very shortly as well. It sounds like he's only a week away from playing.
Yeah, I reckon he'll play next week. Yep.
Brilliant result. Stephen, congratulations on the victory, and hopefully we see you in finals footy in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the chat.
Stephen Cornelio downstairs after the Giants' 12-point victory over Port Adelaide here at the Adelaide Oval. Our final couple of minutes as we wrap things up before we head to Docklands. Well spoken, as always, Joel Patfull. Obviously, you and Stephen are quite close.
Yeah, spent some good time with Cogsy. He's a good guy. He was, you forget how young those guys was. That was 10 years ago I was at the Giants. He must have only been 22, so he's been there for a while. He's been a great player for the footy club, and as we said, he's really turned his form around the last month and playing some great footy, and his efficiency inside 50, his kicking skills are so good and executing really well.
There was insight there that he says he feels great, which is, a wonderful thing for him, and, talking about that neuron issue that he had. So he sounded really fresh. I mean, you probably do after a win, no doubt, but that was positive signs for the Giants.
And just keeping that core group together when Western Sydney can be a hard market to break into. You don't want a mass exodus like the Suns have been having over the last few years. So we'll see how it plays out with some of those names. But as I mentioned, the feeling and the sentiment was there was some decent contracts on the table to keep some of these guys in-house. heading into next year. So the Giants are 9-11 in their campaign, hoping to close the gap between St Kilda on percentage and maybe the Blues with a win, depending on how the rest of tonight goes, with Carlton up by 31 in the third term over Brisbane. So the Lions would need something special, but I wouldn't put it past them. You'll be able to hear the crew very shortly from Docklands. Huge thanks to Joel Patfull for making the trip.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure at the beautiful Adelaide Oval. It's been a great experience. Thank you.
Enjoy the night in the City of Churches. Josh Franco, thanks for darting from the Sandford to come join us.
No worries at all.
Good calling as always to Tom Wilson. Down in the rooms, Braden Ingram, man on the tech, Simon Rose, and back in the studio to Lucas Binns. If you're listening in Sydney and Canberra on News Radio, you are about to head back to regular programming. It was the Giants by 12 points here at the Adelaide Oval. They won 10-15-75 to Port Adelaide's 9-9-63, and they'll be playing the Suns next week in the Expansion Cup in the early game. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, have Sydney at the SCG in the Saturday afternoon fixture as they look to try and claim another big scalp against a heavyweight. 3 to Whitfield, 2 to Horn Francis, and 1 to Stephen Cornelio. Sydney and Canberra listeners, you are headed back to regular programming. Thanks for your company and enjoy the rest of your weekend on ABC Sport. And for everybody else, we're about to take you to the final game of our Saturday fixture. So earlier, Sydney winners over St Kilda by 19 points. Hawthorn defeated North Melbourne by 16 as well. The AFLW representative game saw Australia defeat Ireland by 50 points. Best on ground went to Jazzy Garner with 18 touches and a goal. And here the Giants were down by 1 at quarter time, up by 2 at the half, and then went on a surge in the third, which included a run of 6 unanswered goals, up by 17 at the final break, and albeit didn't kick a goal in the last term, but hung on to win by 12 in the end over Port Adelaide. Over at Docklands, score right now is the Blues by 31 over the Lions, 15-9-99 to 10-8-68. Your call team there, Ben Cameron.